Mark, are you recording?
This
Not yet.
conference will now
Now
be
we are.
recorded.
Thank you.
But hold on, we're not on yet. I want to make sure the stream is working first. Hold on.
Okay.
It should be up and running. Yes. Hold on. Yes, we are now live. We are up and running.
Okay. Town of Pembroke Park, regular commission meeting Wednesday, May 13, 2020 at 7:00 p.m. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Lost some. Who did I lose? Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Cohen? Commissioner DeVille?
Here.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs?
Yep, I'm here.
Vice Mayor Clark?
Here.
Mayor Mohammed?
Here. Okay. So I'm going to read the instructions for the virtual meeting. Notice is hereby given at the Town of Pembroke Park that the Town Commission of the Town of Pembroke Park will hold a virtual special meeting utilizing communication media technology in accordance with Governor Ron DeSantis' Executive Order number 20-69 dated March 20th, 2020, which has been extended to July, pertaining to conducting local government meetings while under a public health emergency related to the spread of novel coronavirus disease 2019. Town Hall is closed to the public. Public access to this virtual meeting can be accomplished as follows. You can dial in using your telephone. The telephone number toll free is 1-866-899-4679. That's 1-866-899-4679. The toll number is 1-646-749-3117. That's 646-749-3117. The access code is 249-019-373. During the meeting, you can submit a text or voicemail at 954-707-9820. Again, that's 954-707-9820. Anyone from the public wishing to comment on any matter, including items on this agenda, may submit their comments by email to the interim deputy clerk at townclerk@townofpembrokepark.com. That's townclerk@townofpembrokepark.com. All comments submitted by email that, if read orally or 3 minutes or less, shall be read into the record. All comments submitted by email shall be made a part of the public record. If any member of the public requires additional information to this town commission meeting or has any questions about how to submit public comments, please contact town clerk at 954-966-4600 extension 235. Okay, with that being said, we are going to move along. Are there any additions, deletions, or withdrawals to the agenda?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to ask that we remove the item related to the Southwest 30th Avenue sanitary sewer matter. The stormwater sewer matter.
Okay.
That allocating that to Keith and Associates, and I think that might be more appropriately put out to bid than awarding a project of that size directly to them.
Okay, so that's 11B and 11C. Correct? Chris?
No, it's only 11B. 11C is the one related to the sanitary sewer project, which has been discussed, and it's a much smaller project, and that would fit within the parameters of the Consultants Competitive Negotiations Act.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask, well, I still have a silly question on that because I know that was it $52,000?
Yes, it is.
And did we budget for it or anything else? Because I know this was me asking to get the preliminary specs for the legislative session for 2019-2020 that has already passed. So have we identified a funding source? Because it wasn't a budgeted item.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Okay, so,
Okay, I missed something, Madam Mayor. They had muted my mic. If, I'm sorry, I apologize, but I didn't get to hear part of what Attorney Ryan was saying. Are we on
Yeah,
addition?
this is, Vice Mayor, this is regarding the request for authorization for the town to enter into work authorization number 8 with Keith and Associates for the Southwest 30th Avenue stormwater drainage project.
Okay.
And that being the size of that proposal exceeds the parameters of the CCNA, and that should go out to competitive bid.
Okay, that's, and this is part of additions, deletions, or withdrawals? Is that what this is under?
Yes, that is. That's why I'm asking that it be removed from the agenda.
so, Chris, I'm gonna ask the same thing just for 11C, just because I know that we don't have the funding for it.
Okay, that's up to you, Mayor, whichever you prefer.
Okay. Is there any other additions or deletions?
Yeah, I have an addition, 16A and 16B C slip.
Okay. Oh, I'm not looking at the last agenda. All right.
You said, Howard?
What's that?
I said, which one is that?
16A and 16B C slip. We need to hire Keith and Associates to do some work on the C slip project, 52nd Avenue sidewalks, bike lane.
Okay, so you're adding C-split. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we need some work done on that.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Mayor, are we budget for that?
That would be Harry.
Yeah, that's not a me question.
Or
Yes,
not
there's-
budget for the other one? I just thought
Yeah,
ask.
the ask is not to exceed $5,000 for this
Okay.
project. So there is money available in the budget for this
Oh,
project.
very good. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
the 16A is not the C slip. 16A is about just, the ranking sheets that the item is already on the agenda, but it was just to upload the ranking sheets. So it's just two separate items. I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else that needs to be added or subtracted from the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Wait,
So Dr.
I'm sorry. One last thing. Because we are going ahead and putting in the 16B, which is the C slip, along with it, we went ahead and we've added the 500 bills and over, which is a revision, which would include that $5,000 having to do with Keith and Associates.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Okay, so,
Marlon, I didn't hear anything you said.
Sir,
What did she say?
look
Madam
at your,
Mayor?
it's possible that your computer's too low. Your iPad is low, the volume. And that's why you're having trouble hearing. Try there's two little buttons on the top. Yeah, see, we can't
No,
hear.
when you come in, you're fine. You can't hear me?
Yes, sir, I hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me better now? I upped my volume. Did that help?
Wait a second. No.
Oh, did that help?
Now try it.
Can,
Try it now, Warren.
Do you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I hear you now. Loud and clear.
My only comment was just to, since we were bringing up the C-slip, as you remember when we spoke earlier, we also needed to change the 500 bills and over. So that has also been submitted with that one change, which is to add those $5,000 to the bills of 500 and over. That's all.
Okay. Okay, so are there any other additions, subtractions?
Okay, now just tell me, Madam Mayor, what does this do to the septic to sewer and the drainage? I think it's better if the project proceeds as one, but that's up to the commission. So what is the lay of the land right now on those two items? What's the final result here? We took off.
All right, so Chris asked that 11B be pulled off the agenda.
Okay, and put out the RFPs,
Right, yeah, there'd be a competitive solicitation for that project.
okay.
Mhm. And I asked
So-
for 11's, what? I'm sorry.
Okay, so do you need a motion tonight? Is that the proper thing you're looking for? Instead of having this on there, that we're gonna replace it with a motion to have staff put it out to bid? Chris?
I think the mayor indicated that there's not funding available for either of these projects in the current budget. So if it were to be a proposal, it would be for the next fiscal year when the money can be either
Money to be
allocated in our budget or obtained through some some outside grant sources.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
I
Okay,
have a
so-
question. May I?
go right ahead.
Item E, the John Lyons Drainage, Phase 1. Appointing Miriam as the town's project contact emergency person. I have a problem with that because if we're going to have an engineer and a public works director, why would we have her, or is that just temporarily until we have somebody put in that place? Because it would be the manager that would be his position, right? It would
No,
be the
these are-
manager as the
public
emergency
works issues?
contact. Huh?
Madam Mayor?
Those are public works issues. Go ahead, Howard.
Yeah.
Okay, go
Again,
ahead.
what this is, Commissioner Cohen, is
Mhm.
we're replacing where Todd was to cover it. So we have a contact so we could keep talking with them on these grants. So this is very critical. And that's what this is all about. It's replacing Todd with Miriam.
But we're gonna replace somebody to replace Todd, that position.
Well, they could take
We're
that
gonna
up at
hire
that
a
time.
public work director.
Take that up at that time if the commission so desires. But right now, we need somebody where we can get information going back and forth.
All right,
Contact
Mr.
with
Jacob
Todd.
wants to speak.
Go ahead, Jacobs.
So why are we needing a resolution for this? She works as the Assistant Public Works Director. She should just be fulfilling that role until the new Public Works Director's in. I don't think this is something that needed to come before the commission.
Actually, it does.
I agree.
And it does because the funding source requires that the contact person be nominated and appointed by resolution. Otherwise, I would agree with you. Otherwise, it could have been.
Yeah. We would all
But it-
agree.
But this would just be somebody temporary, she would just fill in as a temporary, this would just be a temporary position until
It's
we
not a
do fill that
position.
position, right?
Gina, it's appointing Miriam to be the point of contact. She can answer the phone. She can get the paperwork together. She can
Okay.
submit it. Right now, there's things going on back and forth on a daily basis that have to be submitted. Somebody has to be there to submit. If not, we lose our funding.
No, I just want to be clear on
But you
this.
have to have something in writing so that they
Right.
can have that person as the point of contact authorized by the commission to speak on the town's behalf regarding the projects.
And that's why we need the resolutions. And
Okay, and I
very
just-
important for contact.
I just
So
want to
she'll-
make sure,
Yeah.
and it's, everything is clear and, okay,
I don't think
that's
it,
all.
I don't think it's the title. I think it's just she would be the contact.
The
It would
contact
send-
for the, okay, that's
It
all.
states it right there, appointing Miriam as the point of contact with the state of
I
Florida.
still have
Division
to
of Environmental
question that, and I want to make clear that, that's what it is. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, is there anything else that can be discussed over the item? Is there anything else that needs to be added or removed? Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda with the subtraction of 11B and C and the addition of 16A and B.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Vice Mayor Clark, seconded by Clerk Commissioner Jacobs. Commissioner Cohen,
Yes,
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes. Number 6, public comments. Marlon, do you have any comments? Did anybody send in any comments for?
No, Mayor, not at the present time. I'm checking my email and I have nothing. And I
Okay.
also called before the meeting and I did not have any messages on my phone.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Number 7, reports of committees and city staff. 7A, BSO monthly report. Is Coker on the call or no? No?
Mayor?
Yes.
This was placed on the agenda because since we're not having regular ones, I was just trying to get that to you as an FYI.
Okay. Okay. All right, so everybody has a copy of the BSO Pembroke Park analysis for their review. Number 8, consent agenda. You have the bills over 500 in the minutes. Does anyone have anything from the consent agenda they wish to remove? Yes, Gina?
question.
Mhm.
Harry. I was trying to find on the page, why are we, the attorney, how much are we paying the attorney that's working on the police? I can't think of his name,
Facts, and Catherine.
yes. What has he been doing? I haven't had any backup on any of that. And I know that we're being charged. Why are we being charged?
I can tell you what the status of the litigation is from what's been filed is that the complaint was filed against the Broward Sheriff's Office. Broward Sheriff's Office had filed a motion to dismiss the complaint. This is a preliminary procedural matter stating that the complaint was insufficient to bring a cause of action. And the matter is pending. One of the sides needs to set it for a hearing, and so that the judge can decide whether, in fact, it should be dismissed and a complaint has to be amended and rewritten, or whether the complaint is valid and states a cause of action on its face. But that's where it is right now. I don't know what the most daily up-to-date part of it is. I get in touch with him and find out, but that's what's pending so far in the litigation.
Well, Chris, I feel that you should be following up on this anyway to make sure that things are moving the way they're supposed to be moving, especially that we're being charged all this money. So if you can look into it and make sure, and then we can get backup, because I'd like to see the backup on what's being done.
Okay, it's my understanding that both the complaint and the motion to dismiss were presented to the town commission. I will make sure you get a copy of them again tomorrow. And
Yeah.
I'll contact their lead counsel. It's not Mr. Park. It's a litigation counsel that's working on this. And I'll speak with him and find out what the status is. There's been, a little bit of a slowdown in the court system based on there's no in-person hearings now on these matters, but still it can go forward in a meeting similar to this where the parties participate on.
Okay, as long as you're on top of it. Thank you.
Okay. Were there any other questions on bills over 500? Oh, I don't even see any bills for. I didn't even see, Gina, was there a bill for this month for Saks and Kaplan? Because I don't see it on bills over 500.
That's why I asked. I know it was on there last month,
Okay.
and I know we've been being charged, but I haven't seen any backup on it. So that's why I brought it to everyone's attention.
Okay.
So that way we have the backup and we know what's, and Chris
Yeah.
knows to
No, Chris has
follow up
been-
on that.
Chris has been keeping up with that. I know that
Okay.
they have been going back and forth because I received an update not too long ago about what BSO's position was.
Okay.
So, okay.
All right.
Anything else over on consent agenda? Anyone has any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Vice Mayor Clark, seconded by Commissioner DeVille. Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes. All right, number 9, Finance Department false alarm fee waiver, Project Manager Stephanie Woodbury. Is Stephanie on, or can we just go ahead and discuss that there's a request for a false alarm? From Happy Islands. They're asking for a partial waiver of the false alarm fees. They were, the alarms were coming from a family of mice. And that was triggering their alarms, and so they're asking that, a partial reduction in the fees. So the fees are currently $300.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Who's that, Michelle?
Hi. Yes, Michelle Brooms, Billing Administrator.
Yes.
I'm somewhat familiar. The call came in regarding issues that the gentleman was having. I know he talked to Stephanie in detail, but that's basically the situation. There were false alarms occurred in, I think, April as well. So there are additional ones regarding this issue. So I don't know how you would want to phrase that and get the situation resolved for a certain period of time. Because I do know that there was
Miss Mayor,
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Woodbury is on, is he listening to the conversation? She's unable to, for you guys to hear her, but she told me to let you know that the bill is $600 now.
Oh, geez. Did they catch the mice?
He's not answering if they cut the mics.
Okay. Okay, all right, commission, how do you guys feel? Go ahead, Jacob.
When it comes to these, I feel we still have to use our resources. We still have to respond to calls, so it still costs the town money. So, these aren't extravagant fees that they're being charged for this. So, I don't believe we should reduce the fees on it.
Well, here's the question, because in the email it says that when the alarm company called, they asked if they wanted the police to respond, and they said no every single time, do not send police. So do we know if the police were actually sent out? Can y'all find out and get back to us on this one?
No, hold on one second. She just texted me. Yes, they were.
The police were sent out?
Yes, ma'am.
So with that, it's using our resources, which costs the town money. So that's why we have the fees put in place in the first place.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay, it's up to you guys. Listen, I mean, they're asking for a partial reduction. Go ahead, Ray.
I think we should give them a partial reduction because if it's mice, it's not something they're doing intentionally. I'm not saying let them, off free, not pay anything, but I think letting them pay the whole amount is absurd because we're supposed to be working with our town people and businesses. So something that's beyond their control, we should be able to work with them on the fees.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Jacob.
I'm going to say if it's a known rodent problem, it's not beyond their control. All they need to do is contact an exterminator. But it's utilizing town resources. Every time these calls come out, we either have to have police or fire respond to them, which is costing us every single time they go out. That's why we have these fees put in place to begin with. So if they're having a problem, they need to be on it and take care of it so it doesn't continue. But from, I guess, what you're saying, it looks like this continued for 2 months. So, it may be a mouse problem, but they should have taken care of it. It still costs the town money.
All right, go ahead, Howard. We can unmute your phone, Howard. Sorry, I mean, unmute your microphone.
Yeah, that's Mark. He's having a lot of fun here. Okay, so if Ray or Jeffrey can make a motion, then we'll go from there.
Okay.
I make a motion to keep the fees the way they are.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion other than myself saying that, well, not for nothing, DSO is technically supposed to be there anyway, responding to stuff. So if it was a car accident, they'd have to respond. Do they charge the people for responding to a car accident or a shootout or anything else? So, all right, that was my 2 cents. Go ahead, call the roll.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Jacobs, seconded by Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille?
No.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark?
No.
Mayor Mohammed?
No.
Say,
Go ahead, Howard.
so Ray, make a motion, but be reasonable.
I got found. What was it again, Marlon? Is it $600?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I make a motion that we charge them $300, and if it does happen again, we let them pay the full amount.
Second.
Mm-hmm. Any discussion? Roll call.
Motion made by Commissioner DeVille, seconded by Vice Mayor Clark. Commissioner Cohen? Commissioner Cohen,
Tina, your microphone.
No,
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
No.
Vice Mayor Clark.
Wait, I didn't hear the roll call.
Sir, so far, Commissioner Cohen said no. Commissioner DeVille said yes. Clerk Commissioner Jacobs said no. And now it's your turn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 300 sounds reasonable. Yes.
Okay. Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
motion passes 3-2.
Okay. The next one is, Finance, Michelle Groom's refund request for People's Pawn Shop. Let me see my agenda, so. Michelle, unmute your mic.
Thank you. Good evening. There's a refund for People's Pond. They applied for a sign variance, completed the process, and this is the balance that is remaining on the account that is due for a refund. It's $250.
Okay, so this is just to give them their refund?
Correct. We do not have a process in place to automatically issue refunds, so we have to bring it before the commission before it can be refunded.
Okay. Chris, can we work on getting a policy in place? That way when they're,
Yes, I'll speak to Michelle about this tomorrow, but yeah, we have previously approved the refund of sign variances and fees such as these that are deposits, which when our project is done, they're to be refunded to the customers automatically. But I'll speak with her about it tomorrow.
okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to refund People's Pawn Shop the $250. That's, I don't know, overpayment or whatever.
I'll make a motion that we refund People's Pond $250.
A second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Clark, seconded by Commissioner DeVille. Commissioner Cohen,
In a microphone.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Clear Channel Outdoor seeking immediate relief finance. Taubenfeld.
Yes, yeah, I'm here. Good evening, Mayor and Commission. What you have in front of you is a letter that we received from Clear Channel requesting relief for their current fiscal year fee. And they are requesting that we transfer that monies to the upcoming fiscal year. So we just wanted to bring it forth to you, to the Commission, and give us direction as to how you'd like to proceed.
Okay, I'm sorry, Clear Channel, this is for their billboards?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. So this is from the franchise fee, or is this from, because I'm not,
This is an annual fee that Clear Channel pays to the town. This contract has been in place for an extended period of time. They had just submitted their payment for the current fiscal year, and a week later, they sent us this letter requesting the town to push the payment to the following fiscal year.
If I might interject, this goes back to the fact that when they requested to be allowed to have those billboards which are LED boards that can change the copy every 30 seconds or so to get more ads in. And it's a relatively inexpensive fee compared to the revenue that's generated by those boards. And when you consider there may be a short-term disruption, but the whole entire year, I think they more than make back the funds that pay this fee.
There's a lot of feedback. If you could all please mute your phone, your mics if you're not on, please. Thank you.
Howard had his hand up.
I was looking for the amount, Madam Mayor. What's the amount we're talking about?
So based on this letter, the annual contract is for $20,280. Go ahead, Michelle.
Also, I want to point out that I do have an outstanding invoice for the bus benches for Clear Channel that we have not resolved yet. It was to legal, and we still haven't gotten a clear resolution on that. It might be the bus shelters. I might be remembering incorrectly.
I mean, I know this isn't going to be the first letter of abatement that we're going to receive because a lot of the businesses have been hit hard and people can't afford to pay their contracts. And then there's been a reduction in services. You guys saw the text message from Luigi where they lost 22,000. So we're going to definitely have a reduction in our franchise fees as well from waste management. So I saw hands up. I'm just not sure if it was raised hand or Howard's hand I saw just now. I think you're unmute, Howard. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I did. Okay, I just wanted to point out to the commission that we just have to be careful here because we're going to be setting precedents and flood. But if it's reasonable, I'm for it. So I just wanted to make sure we know that.
Yeah, I think it needs to be reasonable. I don't think it should be the entire amount because they've been collecting revenue since September, and I'm not quite sure why the whole entire bill would be doable in March. Well, April. That they paid a one lump sum payment versus paying monthly or whatever. But I mean, I could see prorating it for the upcoming months because of what's going on. But as far as like September, October, November, December, January, and February, I think those fees should be fine for us to receive.
The reason the bill comes up now, Mayor, is because we have a written agreement, an annual agreement. And so when it renews each year, that's when the bills due.
Okay. Howard, what were you?
Again, at least you're starting off with some basis.
Mm-hmm.
Some basis that we could look at and then judge, where we're not just arbitrarily or just making an emotional motion or forgiveness. So I like that better, at least that. I think that makes more sense up till March.
Mayor, could I ask that this motion be tabled to the next meeting? That way, Mr. Taubenfeld and I can gather up the information and give you a better indication of exactly the fees and maybe speak with the Clear Channel and see what kind of revenue loss they have that justifies their request.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a plan. I mean, that would be something that should be workshopped anyway.
And, I would like, Mayor, to kind of look at this more. So to have more time as well. So if we could table this item, it would be good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Howard.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so put that on the workshop for 2 weeks. And then, in the meantime, can y'all look into finding out what the numbers are and everything else for that?
And the workshop is what date? What would that be in 2 weeks? Can I have a date, please?
Marlon?
Yes, ma'am. Just 1 second, please. If tonight you guys approve the workshop, it would be on the 20th. That's when it's scheduled for, but I'm kind of playing it by ear as to what the wish of the commission is. But yes, right now it's scheduled, it would be scheduled for the 27th, May 27th.
Okay, and it'll be at 6 o'clock?
If it's a workshop, yes, 6 o'clock.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right, so motion to table, is anyone making that motion?
I'll make the motion that we table this Clear Channel for next workshop meeting at May the 27th at 6 p.m.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion made by Commissioner Cohen, seconded by Vice Mayor Clark. Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Item's been tabled. If you please could remute your mics, thank you.
All right, 9D tuition reimbursement. We have a tuition reimbursement request for Jocelyn.
Yes, Mayor. So what you have here again is a request from Jocelyn for tuition reimbursement. The documentation provided to you are her grades for the 3 courses she took, as well as all the expense incurred for these courses. The total value is $3,798.82. It is a budgeted line item that the commission did approve this fiscal year, a $10,000 dollar amount for tuition assistance for the employees to advance their education. So Jocelyn is requesting again that the town reimburse her for her tuition for $3,798.82.
And this education relates to something government related. And it's for a in-state tuition.
It is in-state tuition. Jocelyn attended Maryland Community College for these courses.
Okay, and it's for something job related?
I'd have to get confirmation for you on that, Mayor. It does say, Jocelyn's on, I believe, on the line. She can help better explain to you the courses she took.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Jocelyn.
Hey. So I majored in a bachelor's degree in supervision and management. So it's a general degree. It can be used in anything really.
Okay. Go ahead, Howard.
Madam Mayor, if you can get Jeffrey Lewis just to comment, he's the supervisor, I believe, there. And was it job related? The questions you asked, was it pertaining to a reimbursement? Just have Jeffrey Lewis, if I may, Madam Mayor, he could explain, tell you if it was job related.
Well, I mean, this used to go to the city manager, and the city manager vetted all of this before it came to the commission. And then usually we used to just vote on it after it was vetted through the manager.
Okay, then I have
Because
no
there were
problem.
criteria that had to be met. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on.
Madam Mayor, can I take all that comment back? I just want to make a motion now that we refund Jocelyn $3,798.82 for her education expenses.
Was it taken to the city manager? That's what I'm asking. Huh?
What's that?
Was it taken to the city manager?
I don't know. Someone's gonna have to ask.
So why are we making a motion if you don't know?
Well,
And what, can we find out, Lucy? Maybe, I think she's
Lucy
the
or somebody.
supervisor.
and so is Jeffrey and Lucy. Somebody
Okay,
needs
so-
to answer the question.
Yeah, you just can't make a motion and
No.
say it's okay.
I misunderstood what was said. I thought it said that
Okay,
it was
let's
covered.
make sure where our
No,
money.
it's normally it normally goes, whenever we've done this tuition reimbursement in the past, it's always gone through the city manager, because the city manager usually vets the coursework and yada yada to make sure that, you know, you're not having an employee go to school to be a doctor or a veterinarian or something. So, you
Okay.
know, there were requirements that we've always had on the books for that, from what I remember, when we paid for Jeffrey to go to school, when we paid for well, we didn't pay for Natasha, when we paid for Tom. And then there's also the requirement that they stay so many years after they complete it. So I'm just assuming that all of this has already been vetted. I'm assuming that
Okay,
because it's on the
assuming,
agenda.
okay.
I don't know.
Right. I
So
misunderstood
that's
that.
why I'm asking.
Okay. So we need to get somebody that can answer that. Or,
Okay.
How about Mr. Daughtry, our assistant manager? Does he have anything
idea?
that he might want to add? Mr. Daughtry?
Wasn't he
Is he
having
with us?
issues with the phone or something? He had to dial in?
Yes, I told him he needed to dial in. I told him he was not connected. I texted him.
Is he connected? Can we table this? Because I mean, this should have been workshop.
Yeah, let's table this, Mayor. I would think that we should table this until the next meeting.
I agree. I have no problem with that.
May I say something?
Is there a motion for a table or no?
No, I think you have Yolanda that wants to speak, I believe.
Okay. Yolanda, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that, it was sent, the request was sent via email to Harry. Was copied on the email. I wanted to ask Harry if he got a green light from Mr. Daughtry or not, since Mr. Daughtry's having technical difficulties.
Mr. Daughtry and I did speak about this matter, yes.
Go ahead, Howard.
And the question is, does everything look okay for us to pay it at this time? Harry?
I was given the okay to put it on the agenda, so I would based on that, I would say yes. But Mr. Daughtry did give me the green light.
As far as human resources is concerned, we looked at her grade, because one of the things that we're doing in the employee handbook is making sure that we're rewarding our staff that have good grades when they are themselves in school, and like the mayor said, applying themselves for something that's relevant to the town. And all of her grades were A's. So I discussed that as well, that we were in agreement with 100% reimbursement for her.
Okay.
Go ahead, Howard.
Okay, so Madam Mayor, do you feel like there's enough there for me to make a motion to pay it? Based on what we just heard.
Howard, that is completely up to you.
Okay, so if I'll make a motion.
I am-
Okay, so let me go. I'll make a motion that we reimburse Jocelyn, and what's Jocelyn's last name?
Ramirez.
Okay, $3,798.82 for tuition reimbursement.
With the stipulation that she's staying for the set amount of time.
Yes, of course, if you say it. Yeah.
Your second? Ray, you second, or you have a question?
No, I have a question. Maybe we should ask Jocelyn if she agreed to this first. She might not want to be here for two more years.
I want to be here.
Okay.
Jacobs?
Jocelyn who? Jocelyn who?
Ramirez.
Oh, okay.
Please,
Just
we
an
have a lot of
update.
static.
Just
I
an
said-
update, Mr. Daughtry's going to be calling in on the phone.
I would like to hear from him too.
I called him up. I gave him the phone number. He said he's going to call in on the phone. We can just
Let's give him a
wait a
moment.
second.
Did anyone second it, Madam Mayor?
I don't
I
know.
second it. I did.
Okay.
Is he calling in or who's he calling into?
Yes, I called him and gave him the phone number, and he already had the access code, and told him forget worrying about the iPad, just call in on the phone. He said he was going to do that. So I'm waiting for caller 12, which I do not see any new callers yet.
Okay.
So I can call him back real quick if you want. Let me
Yeah,
call him back
let's-
again?
Yes, please.
Okay.
You know, in the meantime, I'm gonna ask, because I'm looking at the agenda item reports. The agenda cover sheets that we originally adopted had people's signature on it, so we know whether or not they approved it or not. And it would usually have the city manager's signature on there, the attorney's signature. That way we know that all of these items were vetted first before it came before us. So we need to go back to the agenda report that we actually adopted and make sure that people are signing off on it so that we know whether or not they're in agreement and approval of these things, so that we're not sitting here having like these moments.
Mayor?
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting for Mr. Daughtry still. This is me. He said he's calling in. He still is not in yet, so I don't know. There he is, number 13. Mr. Daughtry? Mr. Daughtry. All right, there we go.
Yes.
Mr. Daughtry,
I've been
we
on the
were,
call.
okay, so the
I've
question
been
was,
on
Jim, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I've been on the call from the beginning. Yes, I discussed it with finance, and she apparently followed the rules. And that's the only reason it's on the agenda, because she followed the rules.
Go ahead, Howard.
Okay, so the motion I made stands and it's seconded, and we're in
Okay.
discussion, so let's move it and pay Jocelyn back her money.
Okay. Roll call.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Clark, seconded by Commissioner DeVille. Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille?
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark? Vice Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed?
Yes. Oh,
What I wanted to say, Mayor, is, I understand, the process that you'd like us to take, which is to make sure that the city manager and the attorney go ahead and approve these items before they're on the agenda. The only thing I want to bring to your attention is that if I don't receive them within the deadline that's required, I'm not going to put them on the agenda. Otherwise, I can never get anything done. I have a very hard time getting everybody to go ahead and go through the agendas, approve the agendas, approve their items. And if you want this to occur, then I would like for all of you to, for the commission to understand that that is going to just delay the process of putting the agenda together.
Well, it just means that items won't be discussed because these things need to be vetted first. We need to make sure that we have legals okay that we're doing these properly and that legal is agrees to what's going on. If we don't know that legal's agreeing to, we're going to be getting ourselves in trouble because we don't know. The same thing with the city manager, because the holdup just now was us just sitting here waiting to make sure that the city manager vetted this, because there is a process that we've had for when tuition seeks to be reimbursed. They normally go through the city manager. The city manager approves the courses and everything else to make sure that it has a function related to the city and that we're not paying to send somebody to veterinary school so that they can go take care of animals and leave as soon as they graduate. So that's why we had the process. There were things that would come before the agenda that the city managers didn't approve of that were snuck through, that they would sneak through, and then they blame the commission because the commission voted on it, but the city manager didn't sign it because they didn't agree with it, but they wanted the commission to take the blame for it. And that's what we got written up for with the OIG. So I'd rather be safe than sorry and protect the commission by making sure that the people that are in place that's there to do their job, which is to oversee this stuff, is signing off on this stuff before it's coming to us. And we're sitting here having to guess whether or not we should be doing this. And then if their items don't get heard.
I have to agree 100%.
Go ahead, Howard.
I agree with you 100%. I thought we had already had that in place. So let's move it. And then plus this becomes a workshop. This is supposed to be an action meeting. And we're sitting here workshopping.
Yeah, but have these items been workshopped already?
No, this should, I think we all hear what you're saying, Madam Mayor, and I think we all agree.
I mean, I know I'm sick, but geez. Okay. Jocelyn, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I'd like to say thank you to everybody for the tuition reimbursement. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no worries, Jocelyn.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay. 10A, selection of town manager. All right, who's going to start this one?
Well, I don't know.
sounds
HR,
like
do you want to
somebody-
start it?
It sounds like somebody's sharpening a pencil.
Yeah, we need to keep quiet. We need to mute. HR, you go ahead. You start it.
Well, I was going to ask if Marlene, if you wanted to start off by reading the rankings that you received from the commission.
I can, just give me a second. I do apologize. I didn't go ahead and make a copy of those items. I only have the one sheet that just has all it's not separated by each ranking of each commissioner, but just has the total.
Well, I think that's okay. I don't think everybody wants to read out their individual rankings. I think they just want to hear the points. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, Commissioners, if you just want to hear the points that were assigned for each top candidate.
Well, in the past, we've actually read out the numbers. We actually had to redo it twice before because the attorney required us to read out the actual numbers for each commissioner ranked.
Well, I can go ahead and get it from the internet. Let me get it right now.
You sent it via email.
Yep. Okay, so at the present time, the way that it was ranked was that the number 5 was the highest, was your number 1 picked, and then going all the way to the number that you least selected. Number 1 is Juan C. Jimenez, which with 18 points, William Lawrence with 14 points, Christian Manners with 8 points, Nima Walker with 7 points, Mr. Daltrey with 4 points, Kevin Cutchson with 3 points, Stanley Hawthorne 1 point, Christia Alau 1 point, and Andrew Hyatt 1 point. With going through each commissioner's selection, Vice Mayor chose J.C. Jimenez as his number 1, which would be the 5 points. Mr. Daltrey was his number 2 with 4 points, and Mr. Lawrence was his number 3, was his 3 points. Then Commissioner Jacobs, Clerk Commissioner Jacobs voted Mr. Jimenez 5 points, Christian Manners 4 points, William Lawrence 3 points, Miss Naima Walker 2 points, and Stanley Hawthorne 1 point. For Commissioner Cohen, she gave Mr. William Lawrence 5 points, J.C. Jimenez 4 points, Kevin Cutchson 3 points, Christian Manners 2 points, and Christina Allo 1 point. Commissioner DeVille ranked Ms. Nima Walker number 1, Juan Jimenez number 2, William Lawrence number 3, Christian Manners number 4, and Andrew Haidt number 5. So his number 1 pick would be Miss Walker, and going downward that way. Mayor, from you, I received Alfonso Jefferson Jr., Andrew Hyatt, Hall Carlisle, Leonard Sosamon, Stanley Hawthorne, Brian Wilson, and Kevin Cutchson. But I didn't have a rating for your applicants, and there's 7 there. That's it.
So now do we vote?
Do we make a motion at this point?
Yeah, a motion.
Yeah.
Okay, then I make a motion that we go ahead with Juan Jimenez, who had the most points, as our next town manager.
A
Second.
second.
No, I already did it.
All right, that's
I
okay.
seconded. Oh, JC.
Yay, we get a manager, finally.
Call the roll.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Jacobs, seconded by Vice Mayor Clark. Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille?
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed? Mayor Mohammed?
I'm sorry. No.
Okay. Please mute your iPads, please.
So I wanted to ask a question now that a decision has been made. And congratulations on the new manager. Where do we go from here as far as next steps? I need to ask the town attorney if we move forward now with drafting a contract. How do we, like, what would be the steps as far as getting this person like sworn in and ready to go to start?
Okay, then the candidate, Mr. Jimenez, has to go ahead and submit his request for compensation, and the commission will review it. And And we'll go ahead and draft an agreement. And once the agreement is executed, then he can begin his duties. Well, it's agreed once it's been executed and approved by the town commission. So the first step would be for him to, give us a salary and any other compensation that matters that he's requesting, and then we put that in a form of a proposal for the commission to review. And if the commission can review it, accept it, modify it, whatever they want to do, and once we get a meeting of the minds between the parties, then the contract gets executed, and then he can begin his position.
So when the commission agrees on the salary, would that be like the same thing here in a public forum? Or would that just be that we present it to each of them individually and they sign off on the contract?
No. It has to be done. It has to be done in the commission meeting. So yeah. So what he needs to do is provide his compensation request. We'll put that in form of the template that we use for the manager's agreement, and then present it to the commission. And then the commission, we can talk about it at the workshop. And at that point, they can go ahead and make the adjustments that they deem are necessary. And then once they've agreed to all the essential elements of the agreement, then we can go ahead and have it approved by the commission. It's got to be at an active meeting.
It's got to be a what? I'm sorry?
It's got to be at a voting meeting.
Okay, so we would discuss it at the next workshop, and then it would be voted on at the following commission meeting, which is scheduled for June.
Yeah, that's correct. Or no, if the commission determines it, since it is a time-sensitive matter, if they want to have a special on the date of the workshop, and maybe following the workshop, have that issue on there for approval, that'd be fine. But it does need to be done at a voting meeting.
Howard, and then Gina.
Madam Mayor, I think it's a sensitive issue. I think we need to vote on it at the workshop, and let's have, put yourself together a party that could go talk to them so you can get all these numbers kind of worked out the way you did with Agatha and Edith and so forth. So we can move on this at the workshop. That's my request.
Gina?
And I agree with Vice Mayor Clark. The sooner the better. We need to move on this because time is sensitive. That's all.
Go ahead, Jacobs.
I think we should have Yolanda take care of all that and then bring it to us. Being HR for now.
I agree.
Well, make sure that the city attorney's involved because that's what he's there for. And also you have the League of Cities Employment Law Specialist that we get to utilize for free as well when it comes to dealing with contracts, especially employment contracts. So you have those two options. That way we don't have a situation like last time.
And Madam Mayor,
I completely agree with that.
Yes, Howard.
okay, the way we've done this, I would like to see it. I'm going to make a motion to that. I make a motion that the town attorney is the lead to negotiate it, and Yolanda is right there with them as a group. And I'd like to make that motion so we can get this thing taken care of, like we did with Agatha and Edith.
Go ahead, Jacobs.
I think it should be the other way around, where Yolanda gets it together, preps it, and then brings it to the attorney.
Madam Mayor, I made a motion. I'm looking for a second.
No, I'm.
Go ahead, Gina. What do you want to say?
No, I have to agree with Jacob. I think that Yolanda should put it together and present it to the attorney. He looks it over, and if it looks good to him, then we're good to go.
Are you looking at her to put together the requirements, or are you looking at her to put together the contract? What are you looking at?
Well, she's gonna.
Specific.
Well, she's gonna. Are you putting the contract together? It would be the attorney.
Right.
What I could do is, and we'll use Vice Mayor Clark's favorite word. I will be the liaison, and I will make sure to work with.
Okay.
Please mute your mics. We can't hear Jolanda. Please mute your mics.
That I will be the liaison between the candidate, well, between our new town manager and our town attorney, and I'll make sure that all of the let's say terms and conditions and employment status and salary information and all of that gets put onto the contract, and then I'll work with the town attorney and he will present to you the final contract, but we will work together on it.
So I'm going to amend my motion. I'm going to make the motion that Yolanda is the liaison or facilitator, and she will work with the attorney, where the attorney and the applicant are working together on terms and conditions, and then bring it back to the commission.
And the attorney will make sure that it's right, and I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, one point, and that is during my interview with Yolanda, there was a phrase in there, Yolanda, remember that phrase? And we wanted to kind of correct that, where a single commissioner cannot tell the manager what to do. It's the commission is giving a directive unless that commissioner has authority. That was and I know Attorney Ryan would understand that. Was that?
Well, y'all can work that out when y'all go through the contract. Right now, just let her and Chris deal with getting something preliminary on paper so that we can get it back before the commission.
Yeah, I made that motion.
Okay, well, I would like for us to follow some form of procedures and that we have in place.
It's well noted, Vice Mayor. We'll take care of it.
Okay, very good. So I made it. Second, is there just, Madam Mayor, can you move that, call the question?
Roll call.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Clark, seconded by Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille?
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed?
Me?
Yes. I don't know what the motion was. But...
It's calling you.
All right, where are we on this
You
thing?
say yes.
Hold on, let me see where we're at. Oh,
That
D,
was easy.
open position update.
That's me. Madam Mayor?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to give an update that I conducted the pre-screening interviews this week for the positions of IT administrator and town engineer. And then my focus, and we have great candidates. And my focus, the next priority as far as the open positions that we have are the public services director, town attorney, town planner, finance and budget director, and we have an open position as well in roads and streets. And then we also have an open, well, a position that I would like to formally open, which is the administrative services director / deputy town clerk, which is the next item. Well, actually, it's not the next item. It's the last item. I'm not sure if we can discuss this position now, since we're talking about the open positions. But again, I just wanted to let you know that I've done the pre-screenings already. I sent the recruitment plan to the town attorney. Mr. Attorney, I think you saw the recruitment plans for these positions.
Chris. Okay, so I am
Yes,
gonna.
thank you. Yes, I received the plans. I need to, excuse me, I'll speak to that bad time to click me on here. Yeah, and then I'll speak to Ms. Menegazzo about the plan. But it basically looks acceptable.
Okay.
You got your mask on?
Yes.
Hold on. So, okay. All right. So I am gonna, because I know there was I know I saw one of your memos that went floating around that said that the city manager, assistant city manager hires all of those positions, and that has not been the case in the past. And I want to make sure that we are not procedurally changing anything without it actually coming for the commission where we're delegating our duty and responsibility. Chartered positions are positions that are in the charter that basically are direct reports to the commission. And so those are hired for by the actual commission and not by the city manager. We've always in the past hired the building official, the finance director, the administrative service director, the public works director. So I want to make sure that that does not change and that we are not left out of the loop, because that is a positions that come to the commission are always positions that are hired by the commission and they report directly to the commission. Positions like secretaries and things like that are not. Go ahead, hold on, Gina. So I just want to make sure that that does not change. Because when I saw the memo and I saw that it said that the city manager, assistant city manager hires those positions. And I'm like, that has not been the case in the past because of the fact that those are chartered positions that report directly to the commission. Okay, go ahead, Gina.
Let me ask you, is the park manager position, is that an open position?
We don't have anybody in the Parks and Recs as Parks and Recs director.
I mean manager.
Not the operational supervisor, but the actual Parks and Recs. That was a position that was budgeted.
If I may help to answer that question, the mayor's correct. It was a budgeted position. But in my organizational study and in the report card that I presented that the commission approved, I have recommended to remove it, to just keep the operational supervisor or the crew leader, as we call it, for parks, and not to have that position filled. So I had recommended to remove that manager position because technically we have a manager there. I mean, we call him a supervisor, but we have a manager there.
And there's a difference between an operational manager and a Parks and Recs director. The Parks and Rec director is responsible for overseeing the programs that occur in the parks and things like that. They're also responsible for the planning of things, as including the purchases of and maintenance schedules for like new things as well. And so there is a difference. Tom used to be responsible for doing the, what was that grant called, Howard FERDAP?
Yeah, FERDAP was one. Yeah.
Yeah, all
That's
those
right.
parks grants and things like that. Those all went through Tom, not through
Right.
Chris.
Yeah, and Madam Mayor, you're right. You just have to explain it to Yolanda and she'll understand it. You're right about what you're saying. She just doesn't know the history and what we're doing. We want somebody that is a director or manager or supervisor as you defined it. Because we need help out there.
Mm-hmm. They would be responsible for overseeing the garden as well, and all the programs that are dealing with the garden, coordinating when we have the kids come in from the schools and all of that for the growing programs and things like that. That's what Tom used to do as the Parks and Recs director.
Just a thought, would it be possible to assign some of these duties to the assistant public services director? Not.
Yeah.
They're complete. Well,
yes,
most people
I
who
would
have
say
a
yes.
specialty in it, but most people who do that have a specialty in that department, and that's not Miriam's bailiwick. Miriam is an electrical engineer.
But she's also, the commission has sent her to school and she's almost done with that, Madam Mayor.
No, that's for the master gardener, but can she do all the other stuff like the FERDAP and deal with all the other programs dealing with the kids and all that?
I don't know that. But one thing I do know is you said one time that you were thinking about putting her over in that area one time.
Yeah, because of the fact that there was so much turmoil and discombobulation with the department and the unsteadiness and the fact that it wasn't getting any better when the merger occurred. Now, the merger, remember, was originally just a temporary merger. When Tom was first demoted from being the assistant city manager, but Tom still oversaw all of those things for the parks.
But that's right, Madam Mayor. That's what was taking place. So what I would not want to see is anybody slip through the cracks. You know, you have to find a place for everybody. And I think in time, Yolanda will achieve that goal.
Maybe advertise for a new director, park director.
Yeah. Or even if it's a part-time position, we don't necessarily have to fill it as a full-time position, but it would be nice to have someone back over there dealing with those things and getting the parks back in track. And making sure that schedules and things are done, that the things are being replaced, the fences and the canopies and all of that, and doing the proper paperwork for it, because Chris doesn't do that type of paperwork. Okay, go ahead, Howard.
Yeah, and Madam Mayor, remember that this next budget, you're going to get someone that can be out there and help with some of the actual work and help me as an assistant.
Howard, you're still talking, but we cannot hear you.
The town,
I see your mouth moving.
With these projects and these things that we're doing. I think it was Clerk Commissioner Jacques that suggested that, and that's a good idea. Because you got to have help out there to do all these programs and all the things that we're doing.
And we have to be budgeted for it too.
Down the road, madam.
Well, you guys are going to have to do some serious shuffling around right now because of the fact that we don't know how long we're still going to be under these restrictions. We need to go ahead. If we're going to do the layoffs, we need to move forward on doing the layoffs for those positions that we don't have any assignments for, because we don't have money coming in, and you're going to have more than just the abatement from Clear Channel. And we've been having this conversation, but there's been no movement on it, and we're paying people who aren't performing. Go ahead, Yolanda.
I wanted to tell you that we do have movement on it. I sent a first draft over to Harry in finance to look at the positions that right now are vacant that we're recommending to close, and even potentially some existing positions that we could potentially merge to save some money. So I sent it to him. He reviewed it. He gave me some feedback yesterday while I was at town hall. I'm going to send him a second draft, and we're going to be showing you the savings, not only from this budget, but the potential savings for next budget. So we definitely heard you, and we've been moving on it. And there's something else that we have done as well, but it'll be presented for the workshop for discussion, and then the June meeting. And then the second thing that I'm doing in relation to what you just said about the employees not performing, I have put together a spreadsheet of all of the performance evaluations that were conducted in March, and what the final result was as far as like the rankings that the supervisors gave their staff, and what my feedback is as well, with a recommendation on how to proceed. And then we are having a second round of performance evaluations now in June, which these are going to be even more critical, because there were several employees that were notified that they're just doing bare minimum to get by. And some of them are working below expectation. So if they've been given an opportunity already, they've been put on notice, they were informed in writing, they were given a list of tasks to complete, which was Mr. Daughtry's biggest emphasis on this whole process, that if we do performance evaluations, we don't just evaluate them, we actually give them a list of tasks to complete and goals. So June is going to be a very critical month, I would say, for the employees that were not performing well, because we're going to be evaluating to see if they've made any improvement. And then if they haven't, at that point, HR obviously has to make a recommendation on what steps to take next, which may be favorable or unfavorable for those employees. I think it's important to give everybody an opportunity to make an improvement, because some employees do have a lot of potential. And I think there was just, with all the turnover that the town has had, and obviously we've had turnover in the administration specifically and in the leadership, I think that everybody was kind of floating in the wind, but they've been given direction. So June is going to be very critical, not only for assessing the budget as far as salaries is concerned, but also regarding performance. And then lastly, I've even looked at the benefits, and myself, Harry, we'd like to work with Gloria this year on presenting a little bit more of a creative plan when it comes to benefits, again, to try to save money, because I know that the town is going to have a loss of revenue, and every city is in the same boat. So I promise that we've heard you, and we're working on those three major things. And you'll have more information for the June meeting.
Dina and then Jacobs.
And I'd like to add, once we get our new manager in place, I'm sure a lot of these problems that we are facing right now we're going to get over it. We're going to get through it. So that's all in the positive.
Jacobs.
All right, so Yolanda, you brought up the clerk's position, so I have a question for the attorney. Chris, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can we do the same process that we did for Harry for the assistant finance position? We got Marlon in place as our town clerk, and she's got our clerk's office back on track where it needed to be a long time ago, and put all that effort in. Just don't really see the point to go through the process when we have someone in there with all that knowledge of what the town needs and how it's going, that we can just bring her in like we did Harry.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Obviously, she's doing a really good job. But I think what we need to do in this position is go ahead and create the position of town clerk by ordinance. So we have a designated position. I mean, now it's kind of a nebulous position, this deputy town clerk. I think having an ordinance that states the specific duties of the clerk, just like in most other municipalities, would be helpful. And then, obviously, once that's in place, then Ms. Martell could assume that position if that's the town commission's desire. But I think it would be a good step to go ahead and enact an ordinance that sets up a position as town clerk.
Okay, sorry, go ahead, Yolanda, I'll mute it.
That I just wanted to bring everybody is mentioning the ordinance, because right now the ordinance has the old position on there. Remember that when the town adopted the new organizational structure, we took out the finance department from under the administrative services director / deputy town clerk. We removed that and we made finance its own department, which it really needs to be its own department. I think that everybody can agree that finance should be like the right-hand person to the town manager. So that's why the ordinance needs to be modified, because it's really an outdated job description. So I wanted to ask Mr. Attorney, what's the first step? Can you and I work together preparing the language for that? How do we do that?
Yes, I think it would be beneficial to go ahead and have the position of the town clerk codified, and then, have all the duties. And it may be a merger of this administrative services director. I think that position may be able to be whatever the commission decides, whether that gets eliminated and many of those duties will be assumed by the town clerk. I think it would make more efficient the clerk's department.
Jacobs.
I also got one other thing. It's kind of related to HR and the new town manager and all of this. So I think I should have brought it up earlier, but we do not have any furniture yet in the town manager's office. And the place is still vacant. So I met with Harry earlier. He said we do have money available for that. I'm curious if we need to maybe make a motion to have Marlon get the furniture for that office together, since she did the clerk's office pretty well, and kind of get the manager's office, kind of the same format, or someone else. I mean, I'm just trying to get it done so we have something there when we bring this manager into town. So.
I agree.
I can work with Harry and Marlene on that to get that set up within the next week or two, hopefully.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, Howard.
Do you have to set an amount?
Yeah, it's just,
I think you should set an amount not to exceed.
Well, y'all need to get some prices first too, so I mean, y'all can deal with that at the next meeting. What happened, Howard? Howard,
Okay. Yeah, I'm back. If I don't respond, it's because somebody muted my mic. Okay, so what do you want me to do as far as a motion so we got everybody covered here and spending
well, do
money?
you know how much is in the budget for it?
No.
How much is budgeted? So Harry, how much is budgeted?
Yeah, Harry.
And what's the average cost of a table, chairs, desk, and all that stuff? You kind of need to get some
I have
numbers.
not. So I have not done any research as it relates to furniture and office equipment. I can tell you though that in the administrative department, we do have $60,000 allocated for 2 vehicle purchases. So with no purchases being made this year for vehicles, we can allocate that money for equipment for the town manager.
Well, before you spend the full 60,000, just know that you're already you're not getting in the budget for this year. Waste management already took a $22,000 hit. That's one set of money we're not going to be getting this year. So be mindful of that as you guys are spending money. We're going to be having issues with our budget just for this year because we're not going to have the money coming in this year, let alone next year.
Okay, then we can put a folding table and chairs up there, something to get by that, they're not walking into an empty office.
Well, yeah. Y'all, can somebody research and figure out what the numbers are going to be before you sit here and make a blanket motion?
I would say no more than 10,000.
I think.
How about, hey, Yolanda, could you and Marlon get together and at the next workshop, bring it forward to us?
Get some prices.
I feel like it's gonna be maybe half of that.
Okay.
About 5. Okay.
Okay, I guess we'll get together and we'll get it on the workshop for next week or next meeting. So.
And just to go back, because there were a bunch of items that were discussed. So let me go back to one of the first things that the mayor mentioned about all of these positions. So Madam Mayor, the positions that I've been pre-screening for, IT administrator, right now the IT administrator falls under the Administrative Services Director / Deputy Town Clerk. It's not a position that reports to the commission. Is that okay? Is that fine to proceed with that one?
That's fine.
Okay, now Town Engineer under the organizational chart also falls under the Public Services Director.
That's in a charter. That's a charter position.
Okay. So, so Mr. Attorney, I'm gonna send you a revised recruitment plan for the town engineer position, which I already started and I completed my first pre-screening. And that's the only thing I've done so far. So when we put together our interview panel, basically the only difference would be that interview panel, no, actually we're gonna have to have the commission rank the candidates and then do an interview panel with the commissioners. So I'll send you the revised recruitment plan for town engineer.
Okay, sounds good.
And then Madam Mayor, Public Services Director, for sure that's going to the commission. Town Attorney, for sure that's going to the commission. Town Planner as well, since Town Engineer.
Yes.
And Finance and Budget Director as well. So all of these positions, I will send you the candidates and you all can rank them. And like I said, for Town Engineer, I already did the pre-screening, so I have all my notes and everything that I can send you on the candidates. And then Sorry, go ahead.
When was the closing for that position?
For town engineer?
For any and all of them? Oops, sorry.
So I have them open until filled so that I don't run into any situation where a candidate applied and didn't get considered if it's a good candidate. So I have them listed as open until filled.
Okay.
Okay. And then, but we've had them advertised for quite some time. Like much more than 30 days. And then you mentioned the parks manager position that we would like to see in the next budget. So if I may, I'd like to meet with Vice Mayor Clark. I'd also like to meet with you, Madam Mayor, and any of the other commissioners to see what is your wish list for this position, because we mentioned multiple options of either having a full-time person, maybe having a part-time person, maybe it could even be a consultant, or maybe it could be a duty that gets added on to the assistant public services director. So I'd like to get together with those individuals who feel strongly about this position, and we'll go over the duties and the details, and then I'll try to get creative with multiple options and present back to the commission. Is that okay?
That's fine.
And I'm one of those, Madam Mayor, because I,
Okay.
I like what Jeffrey Jacobs said. I need help out there. And I also am very concerned about everything you do over in those arenas, those areas, like you are. So anyway, I'm one of the people that'll be talking to Yolanda.
Okay. And
Okay.
then we also.
And I'll be second, one of those persons too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll get together with all of you.
Okay.
And then the position of administrative services director / deputy town clerk. So I'm going to work with the town attorney on revising the ordinance, but I did send everybody the job description that was put together, and I wanted to know if anybody had any feedback on it before I go to the town attorney, and we use that job description for the new ordinance.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet. So if you could get me a copy.
Okay, the biggest thing I would say is what the town attorney just mentioned, that if you wanted to have deputy town clerk just completely separated, like off on its own, and not include anymore the administrative services director part, where you just have this individual responsible for overseeing the clerk's office, and then the administrative services director, which oversees IT, and then pretty much the reception area. I mean, we could have IT as its own department, and then we could have the reception report to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that we need to look into what the requirements are, because we've always had a certified municipal clerk on things. That's what we had gotten in trouble for before with, which was why Bob ended up becoming the certified municipal clerk, even though he was the city manager. So that's something that y'all are gonna have to look into, is what the legal requirements are for the position. Because I'm not current on what the processes are. There are certain things that you have to have certified people for. So if y'all could look into that and deal with that.
We'll be able to make sure we meet those requirements, Mayor.
Okay.
And to my knowledge, I believe that Madam Martel is pretty close to finishing her credentials to become a certified municipal clerk. So I will double check and make sure that that's not necessarily a requirement. I believe it's more of like a preference when you're hiring somebody. But I can tell you that when we presented her resume originally, she was pretty close to obtaining that certification already.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just know that in the past we did get in trouble for not having a certified clerk. That's why the city manager ended up getting his certification. And Howard, you remember that was Bob?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
They had to be.
I don't, like, that's what I said, I don't know what the rules are. I don't keep current with that because, you know, we've always made sure that, you know, we had 2 certified municipal clerks, but that was, you know, that's something that has to be made sure that we're kept in compliance. The
Okay.
same thing with finance. We had to make sure in the past. That's why we ended up with Georgina, was because we needed a CPA after, I don't remember, I can't even think of what the person's, Howard knows the person's name. I can't remember. Bonnie Lynch, Bonnie something. So just to make sure that we stay in compliance so that we don't have anyone pulling our charter. So that's all
You're
I'm making
burning.
sure that. Howard, I can't hear you. You got muted again.
Yeah, you made the point. They know. Yolanda.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, hold on. Okay. If what I'm hearing, Madam Mayor and Commissioners, there's going to be money that's not going to be there because of the pandemic and all that we're going through. So the only thing that I would request is that you watch out for all the employees that are here. And I know you'll do that. I know Yolanda will do that. I just wanted to make that statement because it sounds like we're going to be short money. And
We're going to be short $2.1 million.
Okay, I had to say
So
that.
you figure $11 million budget, 2.1 million is already being cut for next year. And we pulled out 1.4 out the reserve to balance the budget this year. So you figure we probably need about 3.5, 3.6 just to keep things status quo out of the reserve. We don't have that, unfortunately, in our reserve to pull out. So there's going to be some tough cuts and there's going to be some restructuring if we're going to make it. If not, we can go bankrupt like the other city did in North Broward. So everyone needs to pull up their bootstraps or else we're going to be in a really bad situation. All right, 10C training.
Who likes
Yolanda, go ahead.
I'm smiling because I'm proud of this one. I did my best to put together a customer service and professional communication in the workplace training. I wanted to go over the actual items that I'm proposing for the employees to get trained on. I would be the training facilitator. It would be phone etiquette. It would be email etiquette, best practices when it comes to written communication, acknowledging people. You know, it could be in person, it could be in writing, whatever the case may be, which right now we all know that, you know, acknowledgement is not really happening in the town. And people need to understand that that's just a matter of respect and professional courtesy. Dealing with difficult people and difficult situations in the workplace. So this is more about emotional intelligence, you know, being respectful, being calm, having a good attitude that's contagious to other people, hopefully. And then how to turn around a difficult situation and try to bring in somebody that maybe you didn't have a good relationship with before. Because really the customer service, we can't just think of customer service externally, like with the residents and the visitors of the town. Customer service is also internal between employees. So when you have those good relationships then come out to, or they're portrayed to the rest of the town and the people that come in and they see the interactions, the positive interactions that the employees have. So we also talk about in this training, body language, verbal and nonverbal communication. Why does that matter? Why is that important? And how it affects the, you know, the interactions that you have. And then overall, at the end, I created some monthly themes. So if we could roll out this training in May, and I could roll it out virtually, we could start virtually, but I created some themes for the rest of the month, for the rest of the year. And I wanted to propose that we have like a nominee every month where we put together a little committee and we nominate the employee that exemplified that specific program that month, or that theme that month. just to give you an example, if the month of October is about helpfulness and teamwork, we could get a committee together to nominate different employees and select a top employee who gets the employee of the month. And we keep the customer service and professional communication theme going. And Madam Mayor, I read your email about professional communication, and I tried to incorporate all the things that you had said on that email, and I put it in here. So I just wanted to get feedback from the commission to see if they wanted to add anything, remove anything, if I could move forward with this training that I think is going to be really helpful and fun, to be honest with you, because I try to be like a fun training facilitator. And then if we could do like a $20 gift card, let's say, for the employee of the month, or a $25 gift card for the employee of the month, whoever gets nominated. I think that would really help keep this program alive. Because if you just do it once, and you don't keep it alive, it's not going to be successful. So pretty much what I have.
Want to have any questions? Anyone have any input? No.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
It's a first step in the right direction. Sounds good to me.
Okay. Have fun, Yolanda. 10D, Administrative Service Director.
We already discussed that one.
Okay.
I think
11. I'm sorry. 11A, Unity of Title.
Okay, if you'll recall that you approved the site development plan for Excellente LLC to build that shopping center on Houndel Beach Boulevard, and we had them execute a unity of title so that the property could not be subdivided and either sold or leased out other than by the single owner. And the Department of Transportation has requested that the property owner dedicate or convey actually the north 10 feet of the property to the state of Florida so it can be used for traffic improvement. So what they're asking us to do is to release that north 10 feet from the unity of title. That's what the purpose of this resolution is. So I'll go ahead and read it. It's a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, authorizing the town to execute a partial release, declaration of unity of title relating to the Excellente LLC, a Florida Limited Liability Company, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute and deliver said partial release, a declaration of unity of title for and on behalf of the town, superseding conflicting resolutions and providing an effective date.
Motion to adopt.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No, roll call.
Vice Mayor, motion was made by Vice Mayor Clark, seconded by Commissioner Jacobs. Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
We have a lot of feedback, please. Commissioner DeVille?
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark? Vice Mayor Clark?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
We have a lot of ruffling of papers. Please, when you're going ahead and moving papers around, mute your mic, please.
I don't hear anything now. Is everyone muted?
I'm not.
What you say?
Aiden's not.
I know, there's the only one that
No.
don't have noise.
I think Marla might have muted herself by accident. She was talking and then it went dead.
I always mute myself once I go ahead and do the roll call to make sure that there's no additional static.
No problem. I'll mute myself.
Okay, so B and C were removed from the agenda. those next two matters relating to Keith Associates. So I guess the next resolution would be the one appointing Miriam as the point of contact. That's the same thing. It's could be a couple of those next to her to appoint her as a point of contact for those two particular grants. And then also the last one is to appoint her as the town's representative on the MPO Technical Advisory Committee. And I'll go ahead and read the first two resolutions, and then I guess get to the third one. A resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Pembroke, Florida, appointing Miriam Jacques as Town's project point of contact for the State of Florida Division of Emergency Management for Southwest 25th Street Drainage Phase 1 project, authorizing the Assistant Town Manager execute any and all documents necessary to complete the appointment, superseding conflicting resolutions, and providing an effective date.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Vice Mayor Clark, seconded by Commissioner DeVille. Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes. Go ahead, Chris, with the MPO Technical Advisory Committee.
But she has to read another one
There's one
on
more. Yeah.
HMAC.
There's a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, authorizing, appointing Miriam Jacques as the town's representative on appointing Miriam Jacques as the town's project point of contact for the State of Florida Department of Emergency Management for the John P. Lyons Lane Drainage Phase 1 project, authorizing the town manager executing all documents necessary to complete the appointment, superseding conflicting resolutions, and provide an effective date.
Motion to adopt.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Vice Mayor Clark, seconded by Commissioner DeVille. Commissioner Cohen,
Wait.
Commissioner Cohen,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes. Chris, you got the third one?
Yes, and that is a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Pembroke, appointing Miriam Jacques as the town's representative on the Broward Metropolitan Planning Organization Technical Advisory Committee, superseding conflicting resolutions, and provide effective date.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Clark. Was it seconded by Commissioner DeVille? Okay. Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
12A.
Okay,
floodplain
Madam Mayor.
ordinance. Yes, Howard.
Madam Mayor, I had a question. Attorney Ryan?
Yes,
Okay, may I vote on the John P. Lyons drainage and the Southwest 25th Street drainage?
yes, you may.
Okay, could you give me an opinion in writing on that, please, sir?
Yes,
Thank you.
And Attorney Ryan, would you please give me a safe harbor letter too on that?
yes, it will.
Thank you.
Okay. Floodplain ordinance. Chris?
Okay, yeah, this is just really for notice purposes. This will come up at the June meeting, because we didn't have an opportunity to put the publication in the paper because it was approved back on May 4th, so it needs 10 days notice. So this will come up, the ordinance amending the extended hours licenses for alcoholic beverage locations, and also the one relating to the notices for overfilled dumpsters and things like that, which Commissioner DeVille has started. Okay, so all three of those will be noticed and on the agenda at the next regular meeting.
Okay, three. Okay. That must be on the new agenda. Okay. All right, so 13 town business, Vice Mayor Clark, project list.
Yeah, that's just a project list, and I'd like to add the canopy on there. You know that we all are out there giving food away. Beautiful job, Ray DeVille and Jeffrey Jacobs, Commissioner Jacobs, and Mayor Mohammed, and myself. And I know Commissioner Cohen's heart's with us. She has a ill husband, and so you know that we could do better, and we need to extend it. So what I'd like to do is add it to the list, and then look with Harry if we can find enough money to do a drawing with our engineers so that we could start that thing going either through a grant, through the pandemic, or whatever it takes to get that done. I did take pictures last week where the milk is in the sun, and all we'd have to do is a couple of simple modifications and we could have all that shaded. And I think that's one of the number one complaints out there by the volunteers and by staff is the heat, the sun. They don't like, you know, nobody wants to be out in the sun doing that kind of work. So that's what I'm asking. Can I go as far, Madam Mayor?
I'm listening.
Okay, thank you. So I really would like to make a motion that staff goes out and the public service, assistant public service director, go out and get a quote from Keith and Associates or whoever we have to use to do a drawing, so we at least have a conceptual drawing. I'd like to make that motion and add that item to the list.
Is there a second?
I'll second it,
Okay, discussion.
but I have a question. I'd like to add something.
Go ahead, Gina.
No, I just want to make sure that, I mean, we don't have the money right now. It'd have to be budget for next year.
Well, technically, it could actually be put through FEMA, and FEMA would cover it because of the fact that we're doing the food drives. So the food drives would actually allow us to get it right now. All we need is to put it in the system, which was why I had it on the agenda last month. But I don't know if it was actually put into the query system for FEMA last whatever meeting we were that we had the discussion.
I think we've been discussing. I brought it up 2 meetings ago.
I know, but we made the motion to put it into the FEMA queue because you can seek the reimbursement for it. Instead of seeking reimbursement, you can seek for FEMA to cover it.
Okay.
That's why I also brought those people in, Preston Cook and all of those guys, because there's so many things that we could actually get done right now through FEMA. So we made the motion last time for it to be put into the system for FEMA to cut us a check so we could actually get it done without going through this.
So this time I'm going to make a motion emphasizing it and asking the assistant manager and the assistant public service to go and do what you said and look into any other alternatives. But you need somewhere along the line a conceptual drawing. So this also would allow them to get in touch. I don't think it's going to be that much, but they could bring the cost back to us, find out what the cost would be to do a conceptual drawing. Madam Mayor, you know and I know you always have to have a conceptual drawing, one way or the other. Sometimes they pay for it, most of the times they don't. So at least let's get those few things going where we can get a canopy up there, at least get it going in the right direction. In addition to the existing canopy. So let me make a motion that we authorize the assistant public service director and the assistant manager to get in touch with, I guess it's Keith and Associates, and find out a price for a conceptual drawing to do these changes. That's my first motion.
There a second? Gina has seconded it before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion on that? We'll call the roll.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Clark, seconded by Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes. And
Mayor
then the
Mohammed.
second,
Yes.
okay, and then the second is if we did what we said and the pandemic is covered, then I want to make a motion that we also look at other avenues to get funding for this important project.
There a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
No, I do. I'm sorry.
Oh,
you
sorry,
didn't
I
hear me.
didn't see.
So what were you talking about, Howard, for?
Okay, staff is directed to go out and find any and all means how we could pay for this. If it's not the pandemic money, then it'll be a grant, it'll be something else. It'll come back to the commission so that we can make this important improvement and get us out of the sun when we have
When we have the
food
events.
giveaways, yes.
All right. Okay.
So do you second it or Ray second it?
I don't know, but Ray's paused.
Yeah, I
Did you
second it, Howard.
Okay, thanks, Ray.
Okay, roll call.
Motion was made by Vice Mayor Clark, seconded by Commissioner DeVille. Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Cohen,
Dina, unmute, unmute, unmute.
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes,
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
and then Madam Mayor, I
Yes.
entertained that we look into getting good new golf carts for all of us out there. I've always played around. I'm always playing. Anyway, God bless Pembroke Park.
Well, I'm also gonna ask, because I know we said it, but I don't know where we are with it. We need a electronic pallet jack. And I'd like for that to be put into the queue as well for FEMA. Because they're covering these things, because we need them for our grocery distribution. So,
Okay, so I'll make that motion.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Dina has something, I can't hear her though.
Explain it to me. What is that?
A pallet jack is to move the pallets of food when we're
Oh,
offloading the trucks. We have a manual one that doesn't maneuver very well.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay,
call the roll, Madam Mayor.
roll call.
Is that to purchase a pallet jack?
Yes.
To put it in the system for FEMA to purchase the pallet jack.
That's only if FEMA does it.
Yes.
Okay, because I think that's very expensive. And I don't think we can budget that kind of money.
It's about $2,000.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Clark, seconded by Clerk Commissioner Jacobs. Commissioner Cohen,
If FEMA covers it, yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes. I'm gonna ask a question. Chris, where are we with the RFP for the FEMA person? We had Preston Cook, and I forgot what the other young man's name was, on the meeting 2 weeks ago to try to move forward and getting that done so that because they know what funding is available and all the repairs and things that can be purchased with it. And they don't charge us a fee. They get a percentage, they get their money from FEMA. So where are we with getting that service brought into the city?
I'm not aware that I was to be working on that. I'll get started on it if that was the direction. I don't understand that to be the direction I was given, but glad to help.
Yeah, it was supposed to be, the RFP was supposed to be done. This is like the third or fourth time we've had this discussion about doing the RFP since we couldn't piggyback off of the county. We had the discussion, we actually voted for the RFP back during Hurricane Dorian because we needed to have FEMA monitors in place and everything else, and those services needed to be in place before the storm. And they also deal with getting the FEMA reimbursement for any and all types of services that you need. So we voted on it before.
Okay, was that directed to our office to do that, or is that going to be done in-house at the town? I didn't understand that to be a duty for us to do that.
Madam
No,
Mayor.
that was directed for you because they had even gotten a contract with Orlando to see if we could piggyback off of Orlando. Go ahead, Howard.
To cut it short, we'll have the assistant manager and Public Works look into it with Chris. And Chris can.
There's nothing else to look into it. We voted to do the RFP, so somebody needs to draft the RFP and
That's
put it
what
out there, or to piggyback off of Orlando's because Orlando did it, Broward County did it, and you have all those RFPs floating around, but we need to either piggyback or move forward because we're about to be in hurricane season and we still don't have our FEMA monitors and we're going to get dinged for that.
Okay, so what I'm saying is not go and start reinvent the wheel to go.
Well, no, he had already looked at, he looked at the counties last year and he said that we had to do our own. And so we voted to do our own.
Okay, so you have the assistant manager and Public Works and let them, that's their area, with the town attorney, and then push the town attorney to do the RFP, whatever we have to do. Let's take the next step. We're missing out on money. Is that covered? Go ahead, madam.
I don't know, I'm asking.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Chris, can you just go ahead and either review Orlando's or write the RFP?
I don't have a problem working on the RFP. I sincerely did not understand that the direction was given to our firm to do that. And we're glad to do it. I mean, we've done some other RFPs, and I'll get started on it. But I really didn't understand that to be a duty that was delegated to us.
Okay, note taken. Note taken. Let's move it on.
Okay, so Chris, is that enough direction for you, or do we need another motion?
This time, I'm certainly clear what your direction is.
Okay.
That's why I like motions. That's why I like motions. Go ahead, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Number 14, discussion compensation time. Gina?
Commissioner Cohen. Okay, I've had concerns about this. And again, this is about the comp time and a half that we're giving our employees. I think I'm going to have asked HR to jump in on this and our town assistant town manager. So who's first? HR?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, we can ask Mr. Daughtry if he wants to go first.
Mr. Daughtry? Mr. Daughtry, are you with us?
Mark, Madam Mayor, tell Mark to have him call in. He's evidently having technical problems.
I'm here.
Oh.
He is called
Okay.
in. He's unmuted. He's just not speaking. But he's
Can you
called in.
can you speak on this issue, Mr. Daughtry, please?
I'd rather hear what HR has to say first.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what I think about comp time is the same thing that I've been telling the staff. the staff are aware of what I've been recommending. And sorry. So what I've been recommending is we have three options here. Option number one is we adjust the schedules. I'm sorry. I apologize. We adjust the schedules for the staff so that they avoid overtime. Right now, you could give overtime or compensatory time in lieu of overtime to your hourly employees. And really, salaried employees are not eligible per se for compensatory time the same way that an hourly employee would be. But if the commission or the town manager wants to reward a salaried employee, because let's say we've had the farm shares now for what, like six, you know, and you want to say, hey, thank you so much that you've been here every single Saturday. Here's an additional, you know, 2 or 3 days off back to the town. Or during hurricane season, if your public services director has worked, you know, 4 days straight and hasn't gone home, and you want to reward that person, give them some compensatory time so that, you know, it's just as a thank you. I would like to look at that more from like a global perspective once the situation is over and you can analyze, but it really shouldn't be, the salaried employee shouldn't be treated as an hourly employee. So you have the option of adjusting their schedule, right? So that they're not working a lot more than 40 hours a week. Obviously, you don't, you know, the objective is not to burn out any of your staff. So perhaps they could leave a little bit earlier during the week because they're going to work a Saturday event. And that way you avoid the compensatory time. Or we can also look at, and that's what I'm looking at now, making a salary adjustment to some of the staff. For sure, I'm looking at one of them, but that way that salary adjustment is like a win-win situation for the staff member in the sense that their salary can go up a little bit and the town can stop paying the compensatory time, which is way more than what that salary increase would be. So, Madam Mayor, when I mentioned the performance evaluation and the review of the salaries and all that, I'm going to have that in there for June. And I'm working with Harry. Harry's going to provide me with the information on how much compensatory time we've paid. And then I'm going to see if it makes sense to make an adjustment to the person's salary where we're no longer paying them compensatory time, or if it makes sense to just not pay them any more compensatory time, but they have to adjust their schedule to avoid going over their regular 40 hours a week. But again, I want to make it clear that you as the commission and the town manager as well can give comp time as a thank you. I just think that it should be done more like globally after the situation is over, where you've been able to identify, wow, this person has worked so many hours or so many days, and then you can give that, and it's more reasonable because you've looked at it like from the whole picture, I guess. I don't really agree with right now how we're doing it. I think we can do this a lot better.
Okay. Tina, did you want to say something?
Yeah, and I agree. And Mayor, I know that you've said a couple of meetings back that that we would be reimbursed with FEMA, but the way I'm hearing it, that FEMA's not going to reimburse us. So that's why I'd like Mr. Daughtry now to speak on this matter.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna chime in on two things. Okay. Number one, FEMA does reimburse for overtime. FEMA does not reimburse for straight pay. FEMA reimburse for overtime for if you have employees that have to stay over during any type of emergency. If you look at I'm trying to find it, the Stafford Act, it actually outlines what's payable and what's not payable. Overtime that's number one. Number two, I know that me and Yolanda had this conversation originally during the salary discussion when we went over the job descriptions. And I had asked back then because I knew we all know who we're referring to. that we do a salary adjustment because of the fact that I know that most legislative aides in other cities, their work level and responsibility that the other cities have for that position can literally go 24/7. So I had asked for that originally before, but I'm trying to pull up the paperwork for the FEMA reimbursement. I don't know if everyone received a copy of it, but basically reimbursement procedures for FEMA public assistance, expenses for personnel, only actual hours worked beyond the regular duty time, either overtime, regular time, comp time can be claimed for FEMA category A and B emergency work. Standby time is not eligible for reimbursement. Okay, I don't know, did you guys get a copy of this or not? But this has always been the issue. We've always been reimbursed, whether it's this issue, hurricanes or anything else. These are reimbursable items from FEMA when it comes to overtime. Regular straight time is not covered. So we need to, like I said, I don't know if you guys are aware of it or not, but if you want, we can send out this document letting you know that. It's right on the first page of the document as far as what's reimbursable by FEMA, so that everyone's on the same page.
Madam Mayor, can we have Mr. Daughtry speak on this? Mr. Daughtry,
Yes, ma'am.
would you
We
please
will
speak
know
on
the
this?
answer to. Yes, ma'am. We will have the answer by Friday evening in terms of whether FEMA will reimburse us or not. We've already made the request, and we expect to hear from them on this Friday.
But what was your feelings on this? Can you express that to the commission?
Yes, that under normal conditions, they will not reimburse. But because of the COVID thing, they might consider it. And we've asked that question, and we'll know, we expect to hear from them this Friday afternoon.
See, I know, Mayor, I know that some municipalities are doing this and it's volunteer work and it's not comp time and a half, and they're doing it voluntarily. So, and then I hear that FEMA's not going to cover it. That's why I have these concerns, and I just want to make sure that, you know, that we're moving in the right direction. And if that is the case and people are we're gonna continue doing this, I think we should rotate employees and not use the same employees. Or I think Mr. Daughtry said something about working 6 hours a day, the regular hours, and then they could work the 10 hours on the weekend, right?
Yes, ma'am. What the HR director said, I basically agree that we need to readjust our work schedules so that people can assist with the project without us having to pay overtime. So I'll work with the HR director, and we'll get the information from the FEMA people so we can give you a complete report at the workshop.
I just want to make sure we're moving in the right direction and they're not being looked at in a bad direction.
Well, no, I mean, Gina, we've always been, like I said, number one, we've always been reimbursed by FEMA for any type of disaster for overtime. So, I mean, this isn't anything new. Go ahead, Howard.
But we also got in trouble, and Bob got in trouble, Dr. Levy.
Well, Dr. Levy got in trouble because he took sleep time as well. We paid for him to sleep in City Hall. We also paid that after the hurricane was over, we paid for him to stay in City Hall because he didn't have power in his own house, and he stayed at City Hall because of the power.
But I thought that was FEMA that took care of that and paid for that, and that's why we were penalized and we were in trouble for that.
Well, because nobody was working 24/7.
Oh.
FEMA does not pay for you to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And we were billed for sleep hours in City Hall, as well as after the emergency was over, we were being charged for time for being in the building, even though nothing was wrong with everybody else's house other than that person's house not having power, because they were the last one to get power restored to their home. So they stayed in City Hall after the fact. So that's why it was an issue. And then on top of it, you had another employee who used vacation time to get to the 40 hours so that they could get time and a half and double time. So that's what we were investigated for. Those were the issues, were because they weren't really following proper procedures on getting to the 40 hours to get to the overtime. So
Yeah.
people use sick and vacation time to get to the 40 hours so that they could get vacation pay. Overtime pay.
I just think we need to be a little careful, because I think people are accumulating too many hours. And I think we gotta just be careful with that. That's my concerns.
Yeah, well, this one of the things is that, going in, it's a lot of work. Remember, Tom did a lot of the stuff too. You had Tom, you had Jose, you had Joni, all dealing with our grocery giveaways. Then you had a lot of staff. Right now, you don't have staff doing, most of the staff isn't the one doing it. You only have one person that's doing everything that we normally had 3 people doing.
But you have volunteers.
You have volunteers that come and work the event.
But they're
But
working
you still
for
have
these.
to have you still have to have a couple of employees there. Do you just leave the hen house to volunteers who don't know proper policies and procedures, that don't know what to do in case of an emergency? We had a tent fall over. We had somebody's foot ran over. What happens if you had no staff people there to deal with the situation? You still have to have staff members there. Even though I have 50 volunteers every week, I have between 50 and 75 volunteers, we still have 3 employees. 3 employees to 75 volunteers. You still have to have some staff members there. You're always going to have some staff members to oversee. Yes, Yolanda.
What I was going to say is that I will commit to working with Mr. Daughtry to get the public service staff on a schedule that we will avoid overtime as much as possible, or comp time in lieu of overtime. And the one employee that is the special events coordinator / executive assistant to the town commission, that this is not just for emergencies per se, like this specific situation. This is for all future town events that are town sponsored events, that she would be working long hours and weekends in preparation for the event, and during the event and after the event for cleanup. I'm working on the salary adjustment so that we can avoid the excessive comp time that we have going on right now. So I'd like to involve our public services staff in the scheduling. I'll schedule a meeting with the assistant town manager to meet with them, because they're going to be able to tell us best how they can do their job within a specific schedule. So we'll make sure to tackle this, and we'll give you an update in the workshop.
Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Yeah, the problem that I'm having, and I know it's a pandemic, we hired a special events coordinator just for the commission to do events, and we need more help because certain people have been left out. The pandemic has taken #1, so all your food giveaway, that's where everybody has been. But there's also other things that we've been doing, and that has fallen to the wayside. And that's okay for now, but we have to also realize that. And so when you're talking about a special events coordinator, Madam Mayor, we already have one. And she was supposed to come in and do, from what the managers told me, Mr. Daughtry, 2020. And with this pandemic, it didn't turn out that way. So somewhere along the line, we're going to have to do a lot of juggling, fit all this stuff in, because you can't let one thing go and emphasize another, even though I'm not going to say that it's not very, very important what we're doing. it is. We have all other obligations also. And so she has to know that. She has to work with other commissioners to do other things. And, or we need to get somebody else, which we talked about a long time ago, Madam Mayor, that we would get another events person over in the park.
We need it. You know what we need to change? We need to reschedule these employees. You know, reschedule their schedule. And maybe that would be the way to do it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say this. I don't know if you know, but I can speak for me for the past 17 years. These employees have always gotten overtime for events. This last year is the first time that they have not, because it was not budgeted, because I don't know why it was not budgeted, but for the past 17 years, Howard, you've been here for 28, 29 years. Whenever we've had events, employees got overtime. If they were hourly employees, they received overtime. And it's almost not fair to them when they've been accustomed to getting overtime for them to now be saying, hey, no, now we're not going to give overtime. Hey, no, now we're going to do comp time. Hey, no, now we're not even going to do that. It's not fair to them because they are giving up their Saturdays to come in to help out our community when they could be at home with their families. Howard, how many events have you done in the past year?
I think I've been to every single one of them.
Okay, but we've been doing these things forever.
Yeah, but I think, Ashira, Madam Mayor, I think what they're saying, what I get is there might be okay, first of all, we know there's going to be a shortfall of money. So if we know that, we have to start turning our ship now. And I think Yolanda and Mr. Daughtry and everybody else is thinking it. We might have to go back and kind of readjust. I know that's what I hear them saying. They're going to readjust some people where maybe they're not completely cut out, but they're not going to have as much overtime. I think they're going to address that. One way or the other, you're going to have to deal with it.
No, well, remember before you had more than one person working on all of the events. That's number one. You've always had more than one person. Right now, you can't talk to this person because they're now moved to a different department. You can't talk to that person because they're now moved to another department. So therefore, they cannot help and assist on doing any of the events. You know that, I know that, we've been experiencing that.
But we didn't have it constant. This is constant now. This is every week.
This is every week. But before, when we had the events, the salaried employees who were paid higher than what the average salary was, when you do a salaried employee, you usually give them a little bit extra so that they are salaried, so that they aren't getting overtime, and it's a win-win. Okay, you've had Natasha. Natasha would sit here 24/7. Tom would sit here 24/7 as need be for whatever we had going on. Okay, we did not do that with our administrative assistant. And I asked for it because of the fact that I knew what these events entail when we started this. We had already had the experience and knowledge of knowing that, hey, when we have the Easter egg event, when we have the turkey giveaway, when we have the back to school giveaway, folks are here almost 24/7 working on these things. And that's why they were salaried employees that you had running those different events.
Well, so, I think they're looking just for what I hear, Madam Mayor, is let Mr. Daughtry, Finance and Budget, Yolanda, go take a look at it and see, and let them come back to us and see if we can redistribute it a little bit. Because right now it's not being fair. All right. I think the events coordinator, I know the events coordinator is working on one thing. And everything else that we have planned, okay, is falling by the wayside. But I can understand these are terrible times, but we will come out of it. I'm agreeing with Cohen. I think you need to let Mr. Daughtry and Yolanda and Finance take a look at it and see if they can clean it up some, make it better. I don't know. We haven't done that. But I know it needs to be where it's not just
And-
one thing all the time and
Well,
everything
Howard,
else.
I'm going to
falls
ask for you to
short.
elaborate on what those other things are. I am going to ask
Well,
because I'm
for-
not sure what other things are going on right now
Okay.
that should be done that's not being done.
For example, okay, and I'm going to agree the pandemic changed things, but I have been asking for the school. I went to the schools and to start all those programs and to start things out there. We had to go out there, the garden and the orchard, and get hands-on Broward to come in and volunteer. Now we have a lot of volunteers, and it's working a lot better. But there's certain people that are not involved in it, where that's what I see happening. There's a short change of some programs because of others. It's not equal. It's not better distributed. And then you have the cost. That is a big issue. That's all I'm hearing. I'm hearing it tonight. I'm hearing it from Gina. She's concerned about the money and concerned about overtime. So she's not wrong.
Well, no, I mean, we had this conversation, me and Mr. Daltrey had this conversation, 2 months ago? No, a month and a half ago, when it was brought to my attention that the employees were going to be given straight pay for working from home, straight pay for sitting at home, time and a half if they actually work from home, and double time if they came into the city. And we had the conversation back then about all of this comp time and everything else. And I mean, I was, like I said, from day one, I wasn't a fan of comp time. When Agatha first brought it to us, I wasn't a fan of this comp time because, again, you're still losing people for however many times that they get the comp time. Now, in the personnel manuals, it does say that the people can actually cash out the comp time. If they don't take it within a certain time frame, they can actually cash out the comp time. But the thing of the matter is, if you're getting comp time, you're not, somebody's going to have to fill in when the person's not there.
Exactly.
And that's an extra cost. So like, no matter what, it's still a cost. But the employees in the past have always received overtime if they were not salaried. Salaried employees, adjusted their schedule. Non-salaried employees, got overtime.
But you're doing, again, it's every week. It wasn't that.
No, it wasn't, but this is an
We have to look at
emergency.
this in a different view. And I think that Yolanda and Assistant Town Manager, and we get our new manager in there, they can really look at this and they can come up with good solutions.
Okay, I think we're all saying the same thing, but we're saying it in a different manner. I think that's what's really going on.
Oh,
Because
you know what I really think is happening? Is I think everybody's afraid to say it, okay? That's what's really happening. They see
Howard,
money
when have you known me to be afraid to say anything?
No, I'm not saying you. Everybody is afraid to say to you, hey, if it's $2,000 a week and you have 52 weeks, that's $100,000.
Well,
plus
I had the conversation from early on when we went over the job description that the legislative assistant to the commission should get a bump up $3,000 a year to cover all the overtime that's gonna end up being occurred. That's what every other city does, is that person gets a little bump up somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 bump up so that there is no overtime.
Yeah, but it's more than that.
And that's what you do when you do salaried employees. You give them a little bump up so that there is no overtime.
Okay, but there's more than that. Mr. Daughtry had a plan, and it was a very reasonable plan where he would spend so much time with Ray, so much time with Jeffrey, so much time with Gina, so much time with me, and so much time with you. But it's gotten out of whack. And then if you go on, a year, you're
Listen, this is not, okay, so let's get this part straight. This isn't my event. This is an event to benefit the
I
community.
agree with
That's
Gina.
number
You need
one.
to have your experts study it and convolution.
Okay, this
Yes,
is not,
it all is. It all is.
this is
Or
not my
get
event.
somebody a day off
Done.
during,
It
or
wasn't
get
good for the
somebody a
community.
day off during the week and let them work Saturday. You know, you got to come to and because this is it's starting to add up, and it's starting to be a little bit too much. And I don't want to look like an eyesore, especially with the OIG looking at us. And if we're not doing something right, and we're not going to be reimbursed in this, because the way I'm hearing it, that we might not be reimbursed, and we might not be entitled to that money. So I do have a lot of concerns here, Mayor. And if you want to continue this every week, you know, we got to really look at this. We got to go to a drawing board.
Gina.
And I think,
Gina,
yes.
This event is not, first and foremost, when y'all are talking about this event is like, it's for me. This event is not for me, okay? I'm losing time right now from my campaign to be out here to make sure that the community has. So please stop acting like this is my event. This is an event to benefit the community. We have over 1,000 people coming into the city every single week looking for food that are our residents that don't have food, that have lost their jobs. So please stop acting like it. I have found 50 to 75 volunteers from the community. Commissioner Jacques has found people. Ray has brought his whole family to help to make sure that these events are actually happening to help the community and to absorb the cost of it being staff time.
And I brought the community garden and the orchard, Caparero, and all those folks there. They're working over there every week.
Yes, but you do have to have some form of staff there.
It's
and
lopsided.
Remember back in the days, Jeffrey Lewis used to be the one to give out the flyers to the neighborhood. We don't have any of the cooperation from other staff members anymore for any of these events. Go ahead, Jake.
I'd like to add in here, just so you know, my whole family is there on the weekends. My wife goes around and delivers food to people who can't get down there. She's got a list of addresses and people that she delivers to. So she spends her whole day down there. My kids spend their whole day down there. Prior to my wife and my kids, we go out and hand out flyers. We go door to door, walking door to door. It's not staff. It's a lot of us. So, you know, there could be a lot more people involved doing it, but it's a lot to it. And I spend a whole lot of time doing this event every week. Right. You know, Ray brings his whole family down. They spend the whole day there from open to close. At the end, there's literally a handful of us that stay to clean up the park afterwards. I mean, I was driving the bucket loader, putting all the garbage in last week. You know, we clean up the whole park, and it was Ray's family, Howard, myself, you know, and Joy, and we're all there till the end.
Levon, Paulette.
Yeah, there's a lot of volunteers that are here every week. There are some staff that are here that need to be here, but it is all reimbursed through FEMA. I've read all the FEMA stuff. It says it. So, you know, if they're questioning it, go through and read it. But that's what it says. It's in black and white in the paperwork that it gets reimbursed by FEMA. So it's there. If they need to look into it, they need to look into it. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. I've read it. I see what it says. So, you know, this is just a dead issue. We need to move on because we need the staff. We need these people here. You know, we need Chris there helping in the park. We need Joy there helping in the park. You know, other staff come in. Sometimes they come in, sometimes they don't. It kind of depends on who shows up that day to who's coming to help. So, but it's a big event. I know you haven't actually seen it in person, but it's huge. We have traffic that goes from the park all the way down to County Line Road, down to 32nd Street. So, you know, it takes a lot to get this together every week.
And it's, you know, I just think we need to adjust staff. And
go ahead, Howard.
Okay, and then you have Lucy, you have Jocelyn, you have Gary, you have, you name it, they're there. You have Miriam, you have everybody taking and doing it. It is a wonderful event. It has helped a lot of people. But what we're saying, I think what I'm hearing is, you know, somewhere you have to kind of, I think, calm it down a little bit and focus on other things. But Ray and Jeffrey and you and your mom and myself and Caparero, Maria, they're there every weekend. It's just, you know, what they're saying is if it's $2,000 a week, 50 weeks is $100,000. And then that's not even counting the man, you know, there's just a lot of variables. I think we need to let Mr. Daughtry look at it and just come back. We don't have to do anything, but you have to have people look at it. He had a formula, and he knows what he's doing. He really does know this stuff. And so I think him and Yolanda and Harry, finance, need to look at it, Ashira. That's all we're asking.
Well, no, I mean, I brought it up back in September. So that's why I'm like, we could have alleviated this problem in September when I first brought it up. and
Okay,
we
so
wouldn't have
let's
had
do,
that issue.
then if I may, let's go ahead and direct, you make the direction, you direct your assistant manager, finance, Yolanda, to look into this whole issue, look at everything, because it's going to benefit us in the end when we see what all this is, the numbers and everything in this. You know, you hear some people say they're not getting the same as everybody else. So, you know, you never can make everybody happy. Ashira.
No, but we've
But you
had
need to
this
look at
issue where you had some people getting overtime, some people not getting overtime. Then it was an unfair issue when you were giving some people end days and you weren't giving other people end days. And it's no matter what, it's gonna be an issue. That's the issue that we had when we first switched over to this comp time thing and started with these end days.
Okay. So let's
I mean,
just
I've
let,
done end days since I was 17. So I mean, I'm used to them because the telephone company does it and that's a union shop. But every time you try to implement some form of change, there's always some kind of backlash, backfall, whatever. This isn't new. Mr. Daltrey, please look into it. We can move it forward. Hopefully this time, you know, my recommendation, you know, which is what I said in September, will actually go through instead of me being yelled at about it when I brought it up in September. But okay, we're gonna
So let
move
me-
on.
let's
So
do,
can you make
I'm going to make a motion.
Make a motion for.
Okay, so
the-
okay, Jeannie, you make the motion. This has been your
Okay,
issue.
I
Go
make
ahead.
a motion that we let Yolanda and Assistant Town Manager.
And finance.
Mr. Dodger, yeah, and Finance, Harry. Look into this, and come back to the commission and let us know, you know, what their findings are.
Yeah, look at all events. I'll second it.
Okay, thank you.
Ray, go
All-
ahead, discussion. Unmute your mic, Ray.
I just have a question. What exactly will they be looking into? Because the problem you guys are stating is the fact that you're not sure if FEMA will cover overtime or compay. And according to Mr. Daughtry, he's already working with them to get that information on Friday. So I think by Friday, we should know for sure whether they cover comp or overtime.
The next meeting.
Or, right, so I think we should just wait on that and move
That's
forward.
why
after
we're
that.
making the motion, and then they're gonna come up with their findings, and then we'll know.
I thought the finding was to wait on
There's a lot of
FEMA
things, gotta
It's
find
more
out.
than that.
response, right?
It's more than that.
It's more than that.
It's how that whole is fitting into our whole. And then we know that we're going to be short. What did I hear? $2 million, $20 million. I mean, we have to start planning now for down the road. And all we're saying is, I think, so you made a motion and a second, I agree, but it's more than just the FEMA answer. It's how does that impact the organization, our organization, all this that we're doing. That's what it's more, you got to make it more comprehensive.
Yeah.
You agree with that, Gina?
Yeah.
When y'all
So I-
finish, Yolanda has the floor. When y'all finish.
Okay, to answer Commissioner DeVille, your question, there's basically four things that we're gonna look at. We're gonna look at rotating schedules to avoid overtime. We're going to look at confirming if FEMA is going to be doing the reimbursements or not. We're gonna look at the schedule of the upcoming fiscal year so that we can plan any overtime and try to rotate it between the staff. But the mayor is correct in the sense that that's almost like a benefit away from staff, but if we can plan it out where it's a modest amount and we can evenly divide it and where they're given an opportunity to pick and choose which ones they're going to participate in advance. I think that everybody will be happy with that. And then last but not least, the fourth item is look at the salaries to see if we should make an adjustment, which I've already looked at. I've already looked at the special events coordinator, and I think that you're going to be very happy amount of money we're going to save on comp time, and she's also going to be happy with her adjustment, which I've already talked to her about as far as numbers are concerned. So those are the 4 things that we're going to look at. I think that should cover everything, and this shouldn't be an issue in the future.
Oh, no, there's still an issue. There's
Go
still
ahead,
one
Vice Mayor.
issue. Okay, Yolanda, there's still one issue, and that is in the beginning, Mr. Daughtry had a plan, and he was trying to, or was implementing a rule of how much time the events coordinator was doing events for each commissioner. That's the other one. You have to look at it to where, and you know, wait a minute, let me just do this. This will make it easier. Mr. Daughtry. Is Mr. Daughtry still
Yes,
here?
sir.
Okay, so why don't
Yes,
you
sir.
explain what you explained to me, and I'm assuming the other commissioners, and that's the 5th issue, and that is the allocation of time, where, why don't you explain that to me and what we're going to look at?
We'll just add that as the 5th item to the items that Yolanda has put on the table. And then we'll come back to you with a comprehensive recommendation. And then you, the commission, can determine what you want to do.
Yeah,
But
and
we
then
will
what,
explore all five of those areas and bring that back to you.
but on one person doing all the events, what was your formula? You had a different idea on that that wasn't the way it was going to be. It was going to be divided up between the 5 commissioners, correct?
Yes, sir. That the position, from what I heard when the person came to work, was that they were going to be providing the service for all 5 of the elected officials. And if it was equal, it would be 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. We know that did not happen. So we have to look at it again and then present options or alternatives. And then you, the commission, can make a determination. And we meaning HR, finance, and myself, will make a recommendation to you of how we can move forward. And then whatever y'all decide is what will have to happen.
So those are the 5 issues.
Okay. So
Do we
I'm going
vote?
to put this on the record. Go ahead, Ray, and then I have a statement to make afterward. Unmute, Ray.
When it comes to George, she's the event coordinator, which means she should be directing all the events, correct? And
Correct.
the food drive is not for one specific commissioner, it's for the whole town.
Yeah, right.
So,
that's right.
So I don't get what you guys are saying when she should be dedicating each time to specific commissioners having equal time, when the time on Saturdays for the food drive is just for the town. It's not for anybody specific. It's not for any specific commissioner.
Oh,
I guess I just
okay.
need more clarification because I'm kind of lost right now.
Other things are being dropped to the wayside. They're not being done, you know, that you wanted to have done. And I understand the pandemic, and I'm all for it, and I'm out there with you. Okay, I'm out there cleaning up and bagging stuff in the beginning. That's all. Just look at it and see.
Well,
how
I'm
it
asking the
becomes.
same question because of the fact that the events that we do are town-related events. They're not one specific event. And I know that Joy has done everything that's been a budgeted item for events. And it's not like it's just one person's events. She's done all the planning for Coca-Cola to come to get their coconut tree. She's done the planning for PFA to come get their coconut tree. So what other things are falling to the wayside is what I'm asking, because every event that is an event that was approved in the budget, she has worked on. She has put her 110% into every last one of them.
I agree with, did we vote on this issue or not? Did we vote? There was a
We're
motion?
still in discussion.
Yeah.
We're still in discussion because we're trying to get clarification. Ray's trying to get clarification. I'm trying to get clarification.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
I know I'm not in City Hall Monday through Friday for the most part, so I don't know Go ahead,
Okay.
Jacob.
I think we'll be able to,
I'm in the same
I
position
think we'll
as
be
you
able,
and Ray. This is this event, this food drive is for the town. It's not for any one commissioner. Joy goes above and beyond for all of us.
Yeah.
I know Cohen, you still use Deidre. You haven't moved over to Joy, so there's only 4 of us using Joy. But Joy worked so hard for all of us,
Yeah.
and keeping us in track and all our emails and scheduling all our appointments and everything else that we have to do along with planning these events. Joy goes above and beyond for all of us, and really, you know,
yeah,
she
I
works
agree.
for all of us.
Joy
This
can't
isn't
do any
any
more than
one
what she does.
specific.
Really.
I don't know what you're
Now, let
talking
'em
about
go.
when you're saying, oh,
Yeah.
she gets 20%, 20%, 20. What's it matter? She works for all of us, and she makes sure that time's
No,
spread around. It's not any bit of time
right.
for
That's
one
what we're-
more than another.
That's just one issue. There's 5 issues that we have to go through. And I agree with Cohen. We need to look at it. And let's take a look at it. What is it going to hurt to look at it? Yolanda's an expert. And so is Mr. Daughtry. I mean, they'll give us some good feedback. We're going to learn a lot from this. You know exactly where we stand, the numbers, where we really stand. We don't just talk about it up here. They can bring it back to us. And is that your wish, Gina? Anyway, that's what we're doing. 5 issues. That's all. Simple as that. Not saying anybody is wrong. Nobody's right. I know we all work very hard, and in a couple of days we'll be out there again. And you can't say enough for everybody. No one is saying anything in criticism. It is just we will see where all the money is.
Go ahead, Ray. I see your face like Ray's popping the bits.
I just think we need to be specific on certain issues, because if you guys are going to be general, then there's no way to know exactly what you're talking about.
Yolanda will go over the issues again. Let her say them again. She is specific what she's doing. Listen again to the 5 issues. Yolanda, can you tell them again what the 5 are?
Well, what I was going to say on the 5th issue, that there seems to be a little bit of a division here, right? So what I was thinking is it's a perfect opportunity because it's budget preparation season. Let's allow our special events coordinator to put together a plan for each event that could possibly happen this year, right? We don't know because of COVID-19, but put together a plan that lays out all the events for the year. And then that way she can meet with each commissioner individually and see what the specific, concerns are, questions, whatever emphasis you want to put on those specific events. And then that way, you can start to work together and really set time accordingly. I think that it's a perfect opportunity to do it. And I'm pretty sure that she has something put together already on all the list of events that are going on and what is involved in the planning process. So
what are the other, if I may, what are the other issues that you read? You started off with 4 and then you had 5. What are the issues that you're going to look at?
So locating the schedules for avoiding overtime, confirming if the FEMA reimbursement is going to occur with the current farm share, schedule of events for the fiscal year, adjustment of salaries to avoid compensation for salaried positions, and then the allocation of time of the event coordinators, schedule. Basically, I think that we should prepare a plan for each town event.
That's specific. So that's what's on the table, Ray. It's more than one thing. You got to look at what the money is also.
Well, y'all might need to actually look into bringing in an assistant for her, because seeing as how I will be done in a few short months, who's going to sit there and run to the store to go get the turkeys and all of that stuff for the turkey giveaway? Who's going to run and go get the toys and all of that stuff? Because she is one person.
Yeah. And Madam Mayor, that's
always
what I'm
taking a
saying.
team. It's always taking a team.
Listen, and we always did it without an assistant.
She
No, I
is,
don't know.
did.
There's a
We've
is
always-
doing
Yep.
so
on
much.
here.
You,
All of us are.
Gina, you've
So
always
what
had
if-
people working on this. Gina, you go back through it. Jocelyn used to do all the flyers. Now Joy's
Right.
doing all the flyers. Jeffrey used to take all the paperwork to all the communities to give out the flyers. Jeffrey, Natasha, myself used to do all of the shopping, and Jocelyn, four of us used to do the shopping for all of our events. Joni and what was the guy's name? Joni and Jose. Joni and Jose used
Jose.
to deal with all of the scheduling of the people. Now you have none of them. And everything's falling on the lap of this one person. You don't have Jeffrey going out giving out the paperwork. You don't have Jocelyn doing all the flyers. You don't have Natasha, Jose, Jeffrey, and Jocelyn and everybody else dealing with the community, keeping the schedules, how many people, the phone numbers, and
But
all
we're
of that.
dealing in another perspective. We're dealing with South Florida. We're dealing with with a bunch of different municipalities. It's not just our town, our people. Before it
just
used to be just our people. Now we have
But I'm
all
talking
these
about
several
all events.
people coming from all over the place.
Gina, I'm talking about all events. It's not just the food giveaway that I'm referring to. I'm talking about when you go through all of the events in the past. All of the events in the past, you had all of these different people working on them. It wasn't just one person. Is
But we
what I'm
didn't have
saying.
a problem and everything worked
But
out.
you don't
and it
have all
panned
those
out,
people.
and we
but you
were
don't have-
budgeted for them. And we
Gina?
were budgeted.
Gina, where's Joni at? Tell Joni to keep the list of people then. Call her in Miramar and tell her she needs to come back and keep the list of people. Call Jose down in Hialeah and tell him to come back and deal with this. Tell Natasha to come back and do the shopping. Tell Jeffrey Lewis to go out and do the flyers. Tell Jocelyn to make up the flyers. You're not telling any of those 5 people. All of these positions have now been brought into one person. One person is doing that for everything. Everybody complained about the toy giveaway. Well, guess what? Who was the one going to the store? You had one person. You had all of those people before. Natasha's been gone since when? October? Jose and Joni have been gone all last year as well. So you have one person doing everything that you had a team doing for all of these years.
Well, you
So
have
call
Stephanie
Jose,
helping
call
out.
Joni.
You have
Who?
Stephanie.
You have Stephanie helping out, and that's it. And Stephanie's
Stephanie is
trying to
there
do her
all the
project
time.
management stuff too.
So I
But
think it's
again,
gonna,
let's go back to how many people you're talking about. Jeffrey Lewis, Jocelyn Ramirez, Jose
Lopez.
Lopez, Joni Green, Natasha Joseph. You had Tom Wild. You had 6
with all
other
due-
people.
With all due respect, can we move this along a little bit? I mean, we understand that there's changes here now, and let's go forward with the new plan. But we're talking
Because
about
I think-
item for a little while here.
I think it's going to show she needs help, Madam Mayor. So let's go and do it and bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's
All
all.
right, call it.
All right.
Call the
All right.
roll. I don't even know
All
what
right.
to call the roll.
So we'll let them, figure it out, and then they'll come back and let us know.
Motion was made by Commissioner Cohen, seconded by Vice Mayor Clark. Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
And it's going to show that she's doing the work of a superwoman.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's let it roll.
We'll buy her a cape. Kidding.
Meeting scheduled for July and August.
Well, we know we can't have it. We have to have a meeting in June. I think that's Jeffrey Jacobs, isn't it? Jeffrey?
That's Jacob. Yeah, that's Jacob's item. Go ahead, Jacobs.
All right. So what we're looking at is having our hiatus in July and August, but we would have our last commission meeting in June, and then we'll have our commission meeting in June, and then have the workshop the last during the last week of August. So we continue on in August, giving us kind of the end of June, July, and the beginning of August off.
Okay, so make a motion suspending the July and
Okay.
August meeting for vacation.
You mean,
All right, I make a motion suspending, oh. You want
June and July.
No, he said July and August.
Oh,
July and August with moving the workshop from the end of June to the end of August.
second. Okay, Madam Mayor, may I have discussion?
so wait. So when are we gonna have our meet, so we're not gonna have our meetings on schedule?
Dana, we always go on vacation for the summer, so
No,
that's
no,
what
no.
he's doing the meeting.
Well,
for
I
the
know
summer.
last year we didn't.
Okay, Madam Mayor, may I
Okay,
for
go ahead.
discussion? Okay,
Go ahead, Howard.
every single year, if you go back and look, I always
know.
put one little caveat in there, and that is if we need to have a special, then the commissioners will work together to come back because there's going to be some pressing issue. Doesn't have to be all of them. It just has to be enough to take care of the business. That's the only caveat you got to put in this. You can't go 2 months. We've been through this before many times. And okay, so I'm gonna, if Jeffrey doesn't mind, Commissioner Jacques, if you don't mind, if we could just say in there that, you know, if there's a really dire need, and there will be, 2 months without the government operating is a hardship. So if it's necessary to have a special meeting, doesn't take any particular group, but a group would make every effort to at least come down and take care of town business. And
So
can I
you're
get,
saying July and August? I just
Yeah.
want to make sure, because I can't keep up with all, you know, these meetings, you know, we keep on changing and changing, you know, we're not on schedule. And I know you want to take off for 2 months, so I want to be sure.
but if we could add the caveat, the only thing I'd like to amend that, just so that if we have to have a special, we could have it, Gina. We always do that.
Okay, all right.
You know, let's say the manager says he needs something now for JLAC. We've got to
Okay.
take care of it. So that's on caveat.
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure.
Can I get you to change that, Jeff? Add that to it?
Yeah, Chris, can I add that in?
Is that okay, Chris? Are we allowed to do this?
Well, okay, I wasn't exactly sure what the first motion was. If you want to restate your motion for clarification, you can do that and then have it.
Okay.
Restate.
Make a motion that we take our hiatus for July and August, being that we move the end of June's workshop to the end of August, and that we, if a special meeting's required, that the commission all try to make effort to make this special meeting happen.
Okay. Okay.
Here, a second.
Yeah, me.
Got it.
I seconded. You leaving me out, Madam Mayor?
Okay, roll call.
So I guess I get a vacation.
Yeah.
Motion by Clerk Commissioner Jacobs, seconded by Vice Mayor Clark. Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes. All right, 15A JLAC letter. Did everyone get a copy of the letter?
No, Mary, that you have to go back. You haven't done, town clerk department minute process.
Okay, town clerk department minute process. Go ahead. Jacobs?
And there's some wobbling in the sound. I didn't hear anything.
Minutes. Your item. You're up.
Okay, with the minutes, make paperwork here. All right, for the approving of the minutes, Natasha's always signed off on the minutes. So I'm not sure at what point what it changed and how we got so far behind, but I don't want our minutes getting backed up and back behind again. As we've always said in the last year, when we approve these minutes, if there's something that needs changed, we can always go back and change them. But we need to keep going forward so we're not behind on the minutes. And I think the clerk has a little to put in on this as well.
I went ahead and I did reach out to our city attorney, and he was the one who provided me with a couple of the minutes from the past up to 2017. And within that period of time, they were only signed off by the clerk. Now, I am aware that in other municipalities, that is the process, only because the clerk is the one that produces the minutes. Once it goes before the commission and it gets approved, then there's really, it's basically certifying that you got your minutes done. So, and one of the reasons that I do need to bring this to your attention, and it's why it's so important, is because right now our finance department is having to deal again with the audit. From the day that I started, one of the things that was asked of me was to bring up all the documents up to date. And from 2019, we're still missing 45 resolutions that need to be signed off. From 2018, we have 75. And from 2017, we have 33. Minutes that are missing from 2019 are 24. From 2018 are 29. And from 2017 are all of them. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this to your attention is because when Harry goes over the audit now, he needs to have all of these resolutions and all of these minutes up to date. Otherwise, we're going to run into the same problem we've had in the past. If you want to go by what is best practice, that's why I continue to bring the resolutions within less than a month's time after a meeting takes place, to make sure that we have them approved within a sufficient time where the mayor's not uncomfortable signing them, years later. But we are at a point right now that all these resolutions that I have been submitted to me by our town attorney. And my recommendation is to go ahead and sign them, because otherwise we are falling way behind, we're going to be falling way behind. So we don't want to do that. I mean, this is one of the issues we've had in the past, not having documents up to date. And Mayor, when you mentioned about having a CMC, I agree with you, but that isn't a certification that's required. What needs to be is, because in the past you had a CMC and that CMC wasn't doing her job. So it's not really having that certification, it's knowing what you're doing. And I can assure you, I know exactly what I'm doing. So in that being said, I also bring something else to the table that you should be aware of. I'm a certified floodplain manager, which right now the building department just used my certification to be able to get higher points for your town, to get a higher interest reduction to the floodplain for your town. So sometimes there's other certifications that also come in handy for the town, which I presently do owe. And I have my master's in public administration, and I would like you to know that, because when you're talking about a position of a clerk, I know that I've already proven myself within the last 6 months. And anyone who has a question, I'm more than happy to answer it. But I think it's important for all the commissioners to be aware of that this department cannot move forward if these items are not signed. When resolutions are not signed and minutes are not signed, it's going to have the department behind, and that is not on me.
And then we're going to have another audit problem.
Go ahead, Howard. You got to unmute.
What she is saying is you have to sign these resolutions or these documents, and it's right here. That's what she's saying.
Okay, so I have signed documents repeatedly over and over. There were documents that were never brought before the commission, and I asked that the minutes be listened to make sure that the resolutions that I was signing was actually stuff that came before the commission. And there were quite a few that had not come before the commission, so I cannot sign documents that were never brought before the commission. But I've signed all the documents that I recall having been brought before me that we actually did vote upon. I've signed that. Second, as far as the minutes are concerned, I've never been the one in 17 years to sign the minutes. So I'm not sure where that policy came from, that all of a sudden that the mayor signs the minutes, because for 17 years I haven't signed the minutes. Howard, you were the mayor. Did you sign minutes?
No.
Okay, so I'm not sure what the problem is. But as far as what I have signed documents, I had 2 binders on my desk that I went through, read through all of the documents and signed the documents that I know for a fact was brought before the commission. The other ones I marked up that were not passed. So I'm not quite sure what is the problem at this point right now, or what has and has not been signed, because I signed what was presented to me.
So I have
And
to
I
ask
do
a
not have
question.
a copy of what I signed. So I'm not sure why I'm being attacked here.
You're not. No
I
one's
am being
attacking you.
attacked. I am being attacked because it looks like I'm not signing documents, and I signed everything that's been put before me that we voted on. I have done that in the past, and I will continue to do that. But you know what? Please present the documents to me. I am flipping sick. I am at home, and I'm being stuck having to deal with city work when I'm trying to be sick and trying to recover. I have no flipping blood in my body right now. I'm dizzy, I'm lightheaded, and my flipping hemoglobin is only at 8, and I need a blood transfusion. And right now, I'm flipping having a heart palpitation because of the fact that you guys are attacking me over signing stuff, and I have done everything legally right in signing documents. And to have this presented to me right now without any notice or explanation, and I've signed documents, and there's proof because, Jeffrey, you've seen the book, and you've had to go in and sign the back half. So I'm not understanding what is going on and why I'm being questioned about signing documents that I've never signed in the past 17 years. So with that, good night.
Mayor, you're screaming. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Are
gonna
you-
tell you guys, I need to speak to the commission at this moment because this
She's
is,
disconnected. Mayor's
okay,
disconnected from the
that's,
meeting.
I understand. The email that I received from her was stating that she wouldn't be, busy until, somebody could please stop, mute yourself, please. The email that I received stated that she was not gonna be available until May 21st. I have gone ahead, and she is totally correct. I provided her with all those documents. I've also had Susie go ahead and read over them. But every single document that was provided to her was from Attorney Ryan. When I first got started and I saw how far back we are without signed resolutions, I had to reach out to him because I cannot duplicate those documents. I can only go forth with having them re-signed. And this is where I'm at today because we have so much, and she's correct. There is a lot, but if these documents had been signed from day one, we wouldn't have this issue. And there's no way that I can go ahead and verify each and every one of these documents by going back by over 100 minutes. You've got 1 year alone that I've got 75 minutes to go over. This is not the work that any human person can do. If you guys, if the commission wants to give me 3 more people to do minutes, that would be fantastic, because there's no way that Susie and myself and anybody in the world can go ahead and catch up from 2017 to present. You're talking 3 years of resolutions and minutes and all kinds of meetings between workshops and specials and commission meetings. You know, I have to bring it to your attention because of one reason. Harry needs it for the audit, no other reason. And I would appreciate that if the mayor's uncomfortable, which I don't blame her for feeling uncomfortable of signing something, but then I need for another commissioner to please move forward, because there's nothing else I could further do, to be honest. And I'm not going to be held responsible for these documents not moving forward.
Who's going to verify it? And then I'll get to you, Jeffrey. Who's going to verify it that it's correct? 1 minute I'm hearing it's certified, it's correct, and then the next minute, am I hearing that right?
Vice Mayor, it is our attorney who provided me with the documents.
Okay, let's get him on here.
So I'm using the email that he provided me to submit those to the mayor. I wasn't here from 2017 to present. Okay, I wasn't here during all that period of time. So I can't tell you 100% that those documents are all correct. In addition to that, this commission in the past has gone ahead and approved resolutions without them being a paper copy. Therefore, there's no paper trail to be able to state it because they come after the fact. So I have to depend on the attorney. I have nothing else that I could depend on, because when a resolution's read on the dais as fast as it's being read, how do you think I can go ahead and even listen to those minutes to say, yes, every single word that was stated on the dais was also placed in the resolution? How am I going to do that for you?
So Attorney Ryan, let's get Attorney Ryan in here because he's the one that writes all these resolutions. Attorney Ryan?
I'm here.
Okay, so can you explain how we deal with this?
Well, the resolutions that we send to the town are the resolutions that were presented to the town commission. As to the minutes, that's, you know, a separate matter. We don't have anything to do with the preparation of the minutes. Of course, we told you that it's important, not important, but it's obligated by state law to have your minutes properly prepared and available to the public. Any questions about the resolutions? I don't understand. I mean, what we send is what was read. Obviously, I read them fast sometimes because they're boring to some people, but you know, they're accurate as far as I'm concerned.
Chris, there were several resolutions that I read through that were not presented to the commission, that were never voted on. When they went through them, they said, oh, you were right, some of these were never presented. I have some resolutions here that were never presented. So how do I sign that as the town's law if it was never presented and never voted on? But this was already done. So I'm really confused because I've signed these resolutions 2 and 3 times already, and I'm tired of signing the same resolutions.
I'm not aware of any. We haven't sent you any resolutions that were not presented at the town commission.
There were a few that were in there. Chris, there were a few that were in there.
I'm not aware of those. And, you know, there were resolutions that were on the consent agenda by title only. There are resolutions that were read at meetings that I don't know. If you'll point them out to me, I can verify them by going. You know,
I don't have the books anymore, Chris. I turned the books back in. I don't have them anymore. They're not in my possession.
of these meetings, and I think everything that I send you is accurate. Obviously, I wouldn't send you anything I thought was inaccurate.
Okay, so I've signed these resolutions 3 times. I can't even tell you how many times I've signed the contract for the lobbyists for January. I've signed that probably about 5 or 6 times. I don't know. I've signed everything that was presented to me that needed a signature. So I'm not understanding, like, that list that you just held up, Jacob, I'm not sure where that list is or where those resolutions are because I signed them. They've been on my desk. Anyone that has come into my office has seen the list of the book of resolutions, and I've sat through there and signed them. So where they are at this point, I have no idea.
Mayor?
The only thing I did not sign was the minutes from last week because I was sick and I could not sit there and read them because I am lightheaded and dizzy. And that's why I did not sign them. But in the case of I'm not available, the vice mayor is always available to sign documents.
Mayor, these items that we're discussing right now are items that were from the past. And I have provided you with all of these items, and this list that was brought up is a list that was composed today with when I spoke with Susie, and she was the one that helped me because she's been the one reading them, going through them, and making sure so that then all those documents that you submitted to me, we did go over them for you to feel comfortable. My reasoning again for bringing this forth is because of the audit and to explain that I really need this done. And I would greatly appreciate if when you feel better, you can go through them. But I need to get these signed to make sure that our audit moves forward. I can't do it any other way unless I have your support and your help. Now, if you're, like I said, I can provide you another copy. I can do whatever
I
you
don't
like.
have the copies. I don't have them. The books were
I
returned to
understand.
you.
You gave them back to me and you didn't sign them. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go ahead and take the blame for this.
Vice Mayor,
I have a job to do as well. And my job is to bring these things forth. And when you've spent 3 years without having any of these resolutions signed, that's not my fault. All I can do now is try to go back in time and help you guys to have your books up to par. I didn't create this. I'm only now trying to save the town. And not by putting a Band-Aid, but by doing it the right way. And you're right. Who put your name on the minutes to sign was me. I did it to be able to have your support. But now I see that I shouldn't have done that. I should have stuck with it the way it was before. And that's okay. And this is also why it's coming before you, because I don't want it to be between you and I. I want it to be that the entire commission understands what is happening and the entire commission is in agreement.
well, that policy should have came up before the commission to begin with, because you're talking about 25, 50, 57 years that the minutes were never signed by the commission. To make that decision should have been a commission decision, not a unilateral decision by one person to say, hey, by the way, I'm now going to make you sign and certify all of the minutes. When that is not how the town has operated in the past.
Mayor, there were minutes that were signed by you and Natasha, and I have those as well. And that's the reason why I brought this forth. And now, if you want me, I can prove that as well. Just like I could prove, okay, that while you were feeling ill, you were also sending me a bunch of texts. And I did not appreciate you putting as like if I was doing something to be after you or to hurt you or anything like that. I am a 53-year-old woman that is not playing games.
Okay, we don't need this we don't need this on the dais, okay? Just let's all relax and get.
Vice Mayor, it needed to be on the dais because I am not going to hide things from each of the commissioners. Every one of you needs to know things because it's the five of you that make a decision, not one person.
So I'm going to go back to Ryan. Ryan, how do you make this to where when the mayor questions it, how do you make it right to show that it's the way you're saying it is? Well, Attorney Ryan.
Yeah, I'm here, and the resolutions are accurate as far as I'm concerned. Being sent from here, if there's any question, we can go back over the tape, and you go verbatim if you want, or however you want to do it. I mean, I don't understand why it's a point of contention. I mean,
because she is saying to us that she knows that there was several resolutions that were not done properly, yet you want her to sign for them.
Well, I'd like to, give me chapter and verse on those, because I don't know any that are wrong, and if they're done incorrectly by our office, it was certainly not intentional, and
okay,
I need a little more specifics in general allegation like that.
You can most definitely draft a letter or a form, including all these dates on this form that's out here, and a copy of these resolutions, and state, as a matter of fact, these are true and correct.
I'd be glad to do it. Send me what you want me to verify it, and I'll be glad to do it.
That's the way to do it. Then you are stating to the signer that it's accurate and correct, and that's the way it is. I think. What do you think of that, Madam Mayor and Clerk Marlin? What do you think of that? Can you accept that?
Sure. I'm like I said, I'm happy to work with all of you. This is what I have to do, and I've already gone ahead, and I'm gonna right now send it over to I'm gonna forward it right now to the
Marlon, can you accept it if he
attorney
puts out each resolution
and the attorney will read it in the morning
and then draft a letter including all those that they are accurate and correct. And that way there's no, it's being stated from you. You're the one that creates them. You're the one that delivers them to us. Okay. Madam Mayor, is that okay with you?
Whatever you guys want to do.
Mayor, do you want me to send you the list?
The list isn't going to tell me what the resolutions are.
No, I understand. I'm just giving you the numbers to have an idea of how many we're looking at to sign off on. I already sent it to the attorney. I'll just leave it up to the attorney to get together with you.
Okay. Jacobs. Jake, you're muted.
Yep, go ahead.
No, you had raised your hand.
Yeah,
You did a
all I'm
thing.
trying to say is I don't want our minutes falling behind. It's a hassle to get those things caught up. It's a lot of work. So all I was trying to do was go back to the way it was with Natasha signing off or the clerk signing off on the minutes, so we don't fall behind. We need to keep those up and going. Last thing we need is the YG coming back on our minutes again on something as simple as the minutes. So that's my thing. I just want the clerk signing off on the minutes like I've seen the ones that Natasha signed off in the past. So that way the minutes are there. If someone's got an issue with the minutes, we can always change the minutes down the road. So
Chris, is that doable?
So
Yeah,
here, Howard, you have the gavel.
Yeah,
I'm making a motion that the minutes go back to being signed by the clerk.
Okay, we need a second real fast with discussion.
by the clerk commissioner.
No,
No,
they
the
were all
clerk.
signed by Natasha.
Okay,
The clerk, town clerk. Deputy clerk now. It's going to be town clerk. Is there a second?
Second.
second,
Okay, discussion. Jeffrey? Gina? You're muted. You're muted.
I'm not understanding what you're saying, that you're gonna go back to Natasha and have her sign.
No, the clerk is going to sign. Chris Ryan will develop this ordinance. Weren't we talking about doing an ordinance with the clerk, kind of separate to the side? And
So
would
the
you be-
clerk would be our clerk Martell.
Yeah, Marlon is our clerk right now.
Harlan,
yeah.
right, not our clerk commissioner.
No, not
Okay.
clerk. I mean,
I
you
just
can do
wanted
anything you
to-
want. Gina, that's the way I'm hearing it. I have the gavel now, so I'm trying to
But
explain.
we have to do what's right.
Yeah, and it goes back to Chris Ryan. He has
And
got
this should have never went this far from, well, I don't want to go there, but it did. This should have been taken care of at each commission meeting, and I used to bring it up all the time about the minutes. So,
No, that's a good suggestion. We need to, okay. Anyway, Chris, can you take care of that? Give her.
nothing was done.
Give her,
yeah, I'll work with you with both the mayor and the interim deputy clerk to make sure that the resolutions from our office are accurate and in order and certified, whatever you need, so that everybody's comfortable with having those entered as official town records.
yeah. And
My
a copy.
second motion, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you need who seconded? Ray seconded that?
Ray seconded.
Okay, so I'm going to say call the roll.
Motion made by Mayor Mohammed, seconded by Commissioner DeVille. Commissioner Cohen?
Unmute, Gina.
Why can't the mayor sign?
She's going to, but she has to have certification. What she's signing is correct and true.
No,
I
hold
don't
on,
blame
stop,
her.
Howard, that's not Howard, that's not the motion. The motion is for the minutes to go back to being signed by the clerk as they always have been for the past 57 years.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. That was the motion. Ray, you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Attorney Ryan, did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Commissioner
Okay.
Cohen,
Well,
Commissioner Cohen,
no,
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Third Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor, Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark.
Yes. Okay, now what's your second
Wait, I got-
motion?
My
Mayor?
second motion is when I am out sick, you sign documents as the vice mayor.
Mayor, that doesn't need to be brought before the
But it
court
seems
as
to
a
be an
motion because
issue.
that's actually in the charter that the vice mayor acts in the absence of the mayor.
But it's not happening.
Well, yeah, it
That's
is
why I'm
today.
making the motion,
No.
because it's not
No.
happening. I've been sick for 2 weeks and I have people coming to my house bringing me documents. We did not know if I had COVID. We were waiting for my test. My test is still inconclusive. I have to go back and be retested, but you guys are bringing people to my house to sign documents.
Mayor
And I
Mohammed,
hate that all my stuff is out here on the flipping record.
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
would you care to go ahead and then how do you want us to handle when you are ill? Because at other times you have been ill, but you still conducted town business. So going forward, will you be sending us an email so that then we don't get in touch with you? Because that's what
Yes.
we're trying to do. We want to make sure we don't
Well, like,
bother you, but we also need to continue moving forward and we don't have
And
the
that's why
direction.
But that's why I sent the email out. I'm sick. I will be unavailable. If I tell you I'm sick, I'm unavailable. And that's what my email said. I'm unavailable for the next 2 weeks because
Yeah,
we're
and-
waiting for my
no,
results. So
here.
therefore, if I'm in quarantine, I'm in quarantine.
And Marlon,
Do you really want the paper
we-
with COVID on it?
and look, she did come out tonight, okay, so
Oh,
she's
that's the
doing everything
food
in her.
drive. Why was that?
Oh, don't do that to her, please.
Oh,
Come on, this
Rita,
is not
I
the place.
almost passed out from
Gina.
the food drive. I went over there because of the
She-
fact that the damn
Oh.
I
Jacob
thought you
called
were
me
okay.
to.
Okay.
No,
I'm gonna
I left.
gavel.
Jacobs had to bring me home.
Deputy,
Drive.
deputy, escort everybody out of
sorry.
the room. Come
Oh my
on, let's don't get
gosh.
into that. Let's, we did good up until now. Come on, Gina. No, we don't need to do that.
Well, then you
Okay.
should be signing the checks, Howard.
No one has given them to me. I
haven't signed
signed,
any checks. I haven't seen checks.
I've signed
You
the
should be
papers
signing the
today,
documents.
and I will sign them. However, I'm not going to fall into the same thing that she did. I want the attorney to sign off on it. The manager signs off on it, and Harry signs off on it, on everything. And that's not asking too much. And it goes back to what Jeffrey is saying, and that's good business practice. Keep it up to date. You know, but I have been more than helpful when I'm asked. I was up there today signing, what was it I signed today, Marlon? A resolution or an ordinance?
Yeah, there was one more left that we needed to just finish up on so that I
Okay.
could send it to Municode and then you also signed a contract that had been approved last week when
I
Flag.
tried. But when the mayor is saying that, Gina, when she's saying that she doesn't, she's questioning it, you can't blame her for that. And the two other commissioners, we need to have a system where that attorney, our attorney, Chris Ryan, who I hope we don't replace because he's an asset, he's the only one that knows where it all is. I mean, can you imagine if you were dealing with somebody else and they're going back and trying to look for this stuff? So he's very important, and he has to help us by signing off on it up front. Marlon said that to me today. The attorney has to sign. How do we know where it came from? Because the mayor said that he could swear that he never read it in front of us. So this is serious, and so we're all going to work together. We're going to start where, Ashira, I'm going to do my part, and Attorney Ryan's going to have to do his part. Marlon is doing her part, and you're doing your part. And so when he sends this thing over, attesting that this is correct and certified and accurate, and then you can sign those resolutions.
Mayor?
Yes. No, a vice mayor. I
I
don't want to ever
thought-
be mayor. I did that once. Let
I
Jeffrey.
might be wrong, but I always thought too, my mind is thinking back, that I thought the manager was the one that was signing off on those minutes and the clerk.
He might have.
Well, no, that's not correct.
It's not?
Madam Commissioner.
Okay.
No, it's been the deputy town clerk.
Okay. I thought maybe it was, our former manager.
Town attorney, I did see some that were signed by Mr. Levy and Natasha. So I can attest to that as well, because I went to look at, I started looking for a bunch of different things to see where it got changed around, but it doesn't matter. All it is now is moving forward. We can't keep going back to the
Right.
past. The past doesn't get us to the present. It only gets us stuck there. So
Right.
we just need to keep moving forward.
And you're
Marlon-
absolutely right, Marlene, and I thank you, and you're doing a
Yeah.
fantastic job.
And so is the mayor. And
And,
so is Jeffrey Jacobs, Ray
Ev-
DeVille, and Gina
everybody.
Cohen.
and I heard that everybody was working very hard at that event.
Ever
Every-
since March. Ever since March, it's been going on forever.
I heard, yeah.
Okay, Shira, are you okay with this now?
Listen, I've been okay with this. Did y'all call the roll?
Okay, well, no, the attorney said that you don't need to make a motion. It's understood that the vice mayor stands in the stead of the mayor in her absence or illness. So the only thing that I'm going to ask for you and for me and for Jeffrey, because he's the clerk, he signs them, is that the attorney send a separate cover letter for each resolution saying that it's correct. And what we're saying and what we are signing is correct. That's not too much to ask for.
Oh, we'll adopt that practice.
Why don't you, got a better one than that? Ashira, make that motion.
Do you want a motion that the attorney signs off on every resolution, that it's accurate?
And correct, and
correct.
ordinances,
On all resolutions and ordinances.
right?
And our attorney's gonna do it?
Yeah, he wrote it, and I think we should throw the manager in there. And the new manager can have that done. We have to make sure. I mean, we're coming up here giving a lot of our time. We don't know
But
all.
there has to be a second signature.
That's what I'm
Vice
saying.
Mayor, Vice
Yeah,
Mayor,
yes.
in the
yes.
past, attorneys are also included on the resolutions. That is something that we can add to it, where you have the mayor, you have the clerk commissioner, and you have the attorney sign off on resolutions. It's just gonna make the process a little longer to get a completed copy, but that can be done.
Yeah, but it's better than going back.
I'll be glad to do it.
But
I said I'll be glad to do that.
But what's the phrase you use, Chris? You have a phrase. You gotta make sure he's saying when he signs that this is true and correct. It's certified this is true and correct, whatever the terminology is. He has to be responsible as the maker of the document.
And it will be.
Okay, so is there a second to that motion? The
who
mayor
made the motion?
Madam Mayor?
Yeah, she made the motion. You seconded.
Who seconded?
I didn't.
Madam Mayor,
Okay.
can you rephrase your motion that every ordinance and resolution is going to be certified to its accuracy and correctness? Okay, by the town attorney?
Okay, I make that motion.
Is there a second, Jeffrey? Jeffrey?
Second.
Okay, any discussion, Ray, Gina?
No.
Okay, good job. Marlon, are you happy with this?
Yes, sir. What we'll be doing going forward is that every resolution and ordinance will now have also a line for our attorney to sign off as well.
Stating that it's correct and accurate.
that's his, I don't know what terminology he would put on it, but whatever you guys, whatever the commission agrees upon, I'm fine.
As long as he doesn't say to form, okay, as long as he's stating that it's his document, it's got to be on there. He's got to be accountable for it, so we don't ever go through this again.
Attorney Ryan, are you okay with that information?
Yes, I am. Yeah, and I'll be glad to certify them, all the resolutions.
Okay. So, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry for bothering you now. I can hear you're sick. So, are you okay with this now? If it certifies everything and signs off on everything in the future, you're okay with that? And in the back, there's going to be one document listing all these resolutions, and you'll sign off on it when he certifies that it's true and correct and accurate.
Yes, and in the meantime, you can sign them since I am not better.
Well, I tell you
Y'all are
one,
stressing me out.
I wouldn't sign anything after hearing. He has got to get it the way we said it. He has got to attest to it.
And you have to sign, Howard.
Okay, Madam
You
Mayor.
gotta do your part.
Yeah, I will, but you got to give me a little protection here. Madam Mayor, make one more motion.
You didn't give me no protection.
You never
when
called
used
the
to
roll
have
call
your
on that
time.
one.
We have a motion made by Mayor Mohammed, seconded by Clerk Commissioner Jacobs. And this is in regards to adding a signature line on the resolutions and ordinances, verifying the correct information, that the documents are correct. Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Okay, then I just asking for one more thing. Chris, on these resolutions in the past, this list that Jeffrey has, or somebody has, can you give me you're gonna write up a form stating that, and then what I need is just a motion, or I really need a resolution stating that the commission wants me to sign these mayor's absence, if I will.
I'm not aware of that list, but if you'll send that list to me and I'll cross-check it against what we have here with the resolutions, and be glad to verify that they're all correct.
Only if it's accurate.
Okay, so Chris.
Yes, I'm here still. Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, can you do up a resolution? The commission directs me in the app to sign these resolutions that are so far behind, and that they're true and correct, and I'll be more than happy to sign them.
Okay, you don't really need one, but
I think I need one, because I'm not.
Okay,
If the mayor won't do it,
it'll have
why
to be
would
the
I
next
do
meeting,
it?
because I'm not gonna orally present a resolution at the time.
Okay,
Without it being first presented in writing.
but okay, so commission, Madam Mayor, can you make a motion saying that in your absence, the vice mayor signs whatever that document is, that whole list, and you're directing me to sign, the commission directs me to sign them?
So moved.
As the vice mayor, and I'll sign them. And then Chris, is that enough protection? Madam? So make a motion that I sign these. in your
I did. I
absence, and
said
I will.
so moved.
Yes, Mayor, Vice Mayor.
Who has the gavel right now?
Okay, so the Marlon, would you
Vice
read?
Mayor has the gavel.
Okay, so you just
I
made
do.
the motion, Mayor?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
Hey,
motion
throw me
by
to the
Mayor
wolves, Gina. I knew you would second it.
motion by Mayor Mohammed, seconded by Commissioner Cohen. Okay. You and Commissioner DeVille said it at the same time, so Commissioner Cohen.
Yes.
Wait a minute, wait a
Commissioner
minute,
DeVille.
wait a minute, wait a
Oh,
minute.
sorry.
Wait a second. Gavel, gavel. Okay, I'm gonna sign. The commission's directing me to sign all the resolutions number for fiscal year 17, 17081, 17091, 17092, 17903, 17094, 17095, 17096, 17097, 17098, 17099, 17010. Marlon, you should be
Yes, sir.
reading. You know how many more are here?
Sir, you have the document. You don't need to read out all of them. I can provide the document. I've already emailed it to Chris, to Town Attorney Ryan. I've already gone ahead and submitted it to him. Once we get all of those, we can put it on the resolution. If that's what you want, that'll be attached to, we could use that document to attach it to the document that he produces. So no, sir, you don't need to read all of those at this present time.
Well, I want to do this then. All the resolution numbers, fiscal year 17, 17081 through 171203. And for resolution numbers, fiscal year 18, 180101 through 181201. And for resolution numbers, fiscal year 19, 190101 through 191103. Sure, that's what your motion has to be. Direct me to, the commission directs me to make final.
And may I would like to see those resolutions that are being signed.
Okay, I mean, I guess.
I mean,
someone's
all of
gotta-
us commissioners should see them.
Yeah,
I want to see the ones, you know, what's being signed.
Well, that
So
was
I
a stack of
need
them.
a
It's about
copy.
3 books worth.
I don't care how many books, I want to see the resolution.
Okay, well, Marlon will get them for you.
Okay, thank you.
okay, so. Attorney Ryan,
Yes, Vice Mayor.
okay, is this the best way to protect me?
Yeah, I'll review all the resolutions and make sure that everything that is sent to you is accurate before you sign it.
Okay, and then, so Madam Mayor, your motion is the town commission directs me in your absent vice mayor to sign these particular documents. Can you make that motion for me? I entertain that motion.
So moved.
Okay, fine.
What you just said, but okay.
Well, I'm trying to cover us all, Shira. I don't know what it is. The only one that really knows these is Chris. You know, we just don't want to get anybody in trouble because we signed and the commission is authorizing me to sign them, and I will. You second that, Ray? Or somebody second it?
Commissioner Cohen had seconded.
Okay, good. Thanks, Gina. Good. And then at the next meeting, Attorney Ryan will have a resolution directing me to sign them and a list of them, and we'll repeat the ceremony.
Okay. Motion
Is that
made.
okay, Chris? Chris, is that okay?
Yes, if that's what you want.
I just want to where I don't get blamed for something here I'm signing. Can't blame me. That's why the mayor never signed them. There's a reason why she didn't sign them. She just didn't sign them. There's okay, I don't know what to say. What does the commission want me to do?
I said move on to the next item on the agenda.
We have a motion by the mayor, seconded by Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner DeVille,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Okay, take the gavel back, Madam Mayor.
don't want it back. I want a nurse. I don't want it back.
Okay, what item are we on? Marlon, would you help me?
15A J-Lag.
Okay, JLAC. Okay, let's read it. Yeah.
Sir, that document is it was produced for your information. I did email it to you, and at the last meeting I had put the JAG letter instead of the JLAC letter. Therefore, that's why it's provided. It's whatever your preference is. If you want to read it out, that's fine. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. That's all.
Okay, so we're good there?
Yes, sir.
So the next item, 17, we skipped 16, we're gonna do 16. I need to drink water. Go ahead. Marlon, tell me what I have to do. Tell me what item I'm on. 16?
All right, sir. You're currently, we took care of, yes, sir. You're now on 16B, which is the
16.
C-slip. C-slip.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Didn't we do that tonight?
No, sir, you went ahead and you amended the agenda to put it on there, but you don't have it. And then what we need to approve now is the amended amended bills over 500, which then includes the C-slip, which is the additional $5,000.
Okay, on 16B, C-slip, Keith and Associates, Vice Mayor Clark. Madam Mayor, I entertain a motion that we approve the amended bills over 500 to include the C-slip with Keith and Associates. Can I get that motion from you?
It was bills over 500, or it was?
I don't know. Marlon, you're going to have to explain it to her.
Okay. Mayor, what happened was that the MPO is requesting some engineers' information, and we need to go ahead and have Keith and Associate provide us that information. This information is due on Friday. That's why it's coming before you right now. I became the vice mayor and the finance director and the assistant public services director brought this to my attention today, and this is why we put it forth as soon as I could. I uploaded it to the agenda, so it's in compliance. It's been uploaded to the agenda, and all we need right now is for two things. You're gonna go ahead, and the approval is for the proposal, and then that proposal is what will increase the bills over 500. That the amended bill over 500 is what's provided to you now. So it's two votes. One of them is for approving the proposal, and the second, approving the proposal for $5,000, and then also approving that the bill over $500 is amended.
Okay, Madam Clerk, if I might interject, let's go ahead and only approve the proposal for the documents required for the C-slip application. And
Okay.
then when the final bill comes in from Keith and Associates, then the bill can be approved at that time, because you don't really have a bill from them at this time. So it would be approve the proposal for the preparation of documents in an amount not to exceed $5,000. And then when the bill comes, you can put that on the next month's agenda.
Okay, Madam Mayor, I'm entertaining that motion. Can you make that motion?
We got 4 other commissioners there. Well, 3 other commissioners. All right, so I'll make the motion to approve the who was it, Keith and Associates for C-slip?
Yeah.
A second.
Okay.
In an amount not to exceed 5,000.
An amount not to exceed 5,000.
And the assistant manager was there today too. So, okay. No discussion.
Can you call the roll? Coward, call the roll.
Call the roll.
Motion made by Mayor Mohammed, seconded by Commissioner DeVille, Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Cohen?
Mute.
You're muted, ma'am.
Gita, mute.
Is it budget? It's budget?
Yes, it's budgeted.
Yes. Yes.
Call.
Thank you. Commissioner DeVille.
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen. Oh, sorry, Clerk Commissioner, Clerk Commissioner Jacobs, sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clark,
Yes. Okay,
thank you.
Howard, you're gonna need this.
what's that? Commissioner comments? What's that? Okay. Pen? Oh,
A
yeah.
pen.
Okay, 17, commissioner reports. Is there any reports, Marlon?
No, sir, not at this time unless Commissioner has something additional to state at this moment.
I hope not. I think we've done enough. But anyway, if you do, then so speak it. 18, attorney reports.
None at this time.
Okay, you got a lot to get into.
Ray
it.
has something, Howard. You're not looking
Oh,
at
I'm
the
sorry.
screen.
Okay, sorry about
Commissioner
that.
comments.
Just want to let you guys know that I think it's embarrassing the way we conduct these meetings. I know we're not always going to agree on everything, but we should be able to, make these decisions as pretty much we're a team here. We're supposed to be moving forward as a team, as a collective. And I've noticed nothing except you guys going at each other's throats. And to me, it's embarrassing. And I think we should be more civilized and respectful in our disagreement.
Oh, and I agree
All I
with
had
you.
to say.
Okay,
I agree with you, Ray.
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you for saying that.
Jeffrey, you got any comments? Okay, Gina, any comments?
No, just everybody, keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to our new manager and hopefully we'll get to a positive,
Yeah,
place.
yeah. I
All
certainly
is
hope
well.
so. All is well. No comments. Madam Mayor, you have any comments?
And, feel better, Mayor.
Yeah, feel better. God bless. Any more comments, Madam Mayor?
No comments.
Okay, so we have town manager report. Okay, 20 announcements. A, Everbridge has replaced Code Red, and we are asking residents to register and receive town notifications. To receive town notifications, go to the Town of Pembroke Park homepage and click on this image and you can sign up. B, COVID-19 Testing Center. C, Broward College flyer. D, food giveaway continues every Saturday. 21, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Who made the
That's
second?
it. We're done.
Who made the second?
Is there a
Thank
second?
you, everyone. Stay safe.
Okay.
This
Thank
conference
you,
is no
everyone.
longer being
Greatly
recorded.
appreciate it. Have a good night.
Okay, bye-bye.
Pleasure.
Bye-bye.